Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a massive medieval playground that's all about finding the biggest stick and becoming a knight. But what if you decided to ignore all that baby difficulty stuff and kick things up a notch to finally satiate Henry's hunger? Can you beat Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as a pacifist? Fist is in all caps because subtlety is for losers. No killing, no weapons, no armor. Just hands rated E for everyone, to supplement the diplomacy. Spiritually, I'm aiming for a virtuous medieval monk one inconvenience away from becoming a D&D monk. Between you and me, I think you get it, but for those who brought their drool buckets, a quick warning. There will be spoilers, consider your hand held. The story of Henry kicks off in a dramatic fashion, with a cutscene and a commotion.
Who the frick is this guy?
He looked confused. Good, we're aligned. As soon as I was in control, the absence of friendly fire was confirmed. Whether it's Henry or not, the challenge stands. Weapons are just not safe for kids' paperweights now. While running around completing chores, my old man's stamina evaporated faster than my bladder control. I didn't get to keep any of the gear I stole, but I did do a cool discount key blast and fright some fools. Then some dude told me to draw the sword I didn't have and follow him.
But fat chance. It's on the ground.
For my last labor, I failed to push down a ladder long enough for someone competent to take over. Teamwork makes the dream, someone else handles it. Hans was there. He has a knack for catching arrows. Seems like he's really in a pickle this time. And that's it for the foreshadowing.
That's the name of the game.
After that strong opening, we set out to answer the question, how many idiots does it take to fail to deliver a letter? Hans kicked things off by introducing me like this.
God help me, my bodyguard's a monk who can't speak Latin.
Very cool, man.
Doki.
Emotional recovery complete. Moments later, I used Talk No Chuchu to diffuse our way through a dialogue with a paranoid patrol. I built my special around speech, because if I have to interact with people, I want it to end as quickly as possible. They advised us to camp, while warning us about bandits in the same breath, which felt less like advice and more like a spoiler. Something felt off. I don't know, a gut feeling. Or maybe I was hungry, tough to tell. As soon as I had freedom at my fingertips, I immediately discovered my cow-endorsed method to level ups wasn't working, and exploring would hurt the game's feelings. My dog was being loud and annoying. Training him the traditional way didn't work, so I risked the cook for his stashed sausage, and bribed the furry alarm system into silence. Didn't fix the problem long term, but it solved it right now, which is my favorite time frame. While cosplaying as a walking questionnaire, Henry just casually dropped a death flag.
I can't imagine what could happen for them not to receive it.
I could hear the universe cock a gun. Awesome. Then I spent 14 minutes extorting a silver ring from this muppet in a psychological knife fight with dice. The first round was a close one, but the second round was a different story.
He beat me on a single turn.
He let me keep playing until I won, bold of him to assume I have limits. The cost of the ship being sunk was only my pride, which I was barely using anyway. Turns out the ring belonged to our cook. I returned it like a good boy, but mostly because he hit me where my morality is stored. He, mistakenly, flaunted his food rationing privileges, which is why I inhaled all the eatables that joined us on this camping trip. Showed him. After failing to return to the sea, I collected every flower within legal boundaries, while Hans kept catcalling me.
Well then, Henry? Well then, Henry?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Henry, come here.
It's like he doesn't know me.
After running out of vegetables and excuses, I finally agreed to spar with Hans and tried to mud wrestle him Greek style, like a man, but he wasn't having it.
Do you think we're gonna fight with our cocks?
Confidence is key, and I brought too much of it. Then the game grabbed me by the collar and forced a sword tutorial into my peaceful lifestyle. Wooden sword only? No choice. Technically, I did no damage, so I'm still morally undefeated.
So, do you come here often? Ow!
I was allowed to host my weapon for the sparring part of the spar, and handled it like I usually do, except fist fighting felt somehow off, and just as I started figuring it out, the game declared me the loser.
Huh? I'm not a sore loser or anything.
We sat down after to have a nice talk, to remind the player that characters exist, and stuff happened in the previous game. Wordless extra number 3 mugged my lifestyle.
Ah, don't be such a monk. Out with it.
Everybody had fun, right up until I buried the mood by reopening the Scallage folder. Against everyone's general sense of what a good idea is, Hans dragged me to the pond firing every PP joke in existence. Relatable. He sensed womenfolk nearby, which means Hans entered a different gameplay mode settings. We started sneaking upon them like swamp goblins. I actually didn't want to do it, but I'm easily peer pressured. I suddenly got the attention of the laundry girl by slinging a rock at her. That escalated immediately. I committed to the bit and started launching rocks, ready to declare independence. They didn't react. The survival instincts of an orange cat. While we were busy cosplaying the antagonist from the raft, our camp gets deleted in the background, which, in hindsight, makes me look really smart for eating all the food earlier. The bad lads were coming on to this one lady a little too strong, so, obviously, I heroically insert myself into the situation like an unwanted ad. I'm a YouTuber. Please, look at me instead. For that, the situation turned into a swim any person speedrun lesson, with people enthusiastically invested encouraging me to go faster. The only thing that truly mattered was that my dog got away safely. Everything else was negotiable. No story with Henry in it can start without reverse acupuncture. Chapter 3. Mission Swim Possible. I awakened to the fact that there is a photo mode, which instantly promoted me from survivor to a drama tourist with a scrapbook. There was a collection of third hosters blocking our path. First, I tried hitting them with rocks for science. I was shocked when that ended with me in a dead end, getting rewritten into not canon.
I think I boned.
Round 2, I tried hiding behind a tree. The tree disagreed, the enemies agreed with the tree. I then attempted a bold ocean-based career change. The sea declined my application once again.
What?
My shenanigans in the ancient art of Joker Beach wasn't allowed. I checked online. Apparently, fun was allowed before, but they patched it. I missed the golden age. For my next trick, I tried just strolling by like I belonged. That ended as well as you thunk it would.
Can you walk any faster? Oh god.
Out of options, I decided to follow the game's rules. Hans was an absolute slug about it, which only made it better.
He was so good earlier when sneaking up to the ladies, but now he can't sneak anymore. Fine. Oh my. Well, that was unfortunate. Why did I run my mouth? Me and my big, adorable mouth.
But I wasn't done yet. The sneaking tutorial wasn't actually that hard when I stopped looking for creative solutions. At the end, as we were inches away from freedom, I captured some sick photos for the scrapbook.
This is a good picture. I'm fighting a soldier while Hans is escaping.
Back at the Elm, the game finally introduced real combat. I was so ready to show what I'm made of. I was immediately and violently humbled, but at my darkest hour,
Dog meat to the rescue.
then we fell off a cliff. I had a cutscene within a cutscene. Woke up like American Beauty, except instead of roses, we had plantain. Then my dead dad showed up to express his disappointment and kicked me into Hans's arms. As he dragged my sorry existence into safety, I kept hallucinating, seeing my parents turned into vulture feed on repeat. Easily the second worst trip I've ever had. Hans didn't have a good time as my trip sitter either, but he carried my noble sugginess into safety. Oh, how the turns have tabled.
Are you my new mother?
One of the bad lads stormed in, swinging his sword like a man possessed, but my noble escort fought him off without a second thought.
Hans got to that guy like a man.
And just when things settled, Nightmare 2, the revenge boots up. Bad memories, but this time in red.
Mother?
I ate your ma, laddie.
Rats, foiled again. Unsurprisingly, old lady Brozina told me I almost died. Hans got pretty beat up fighting that one guy too. I made a mental note to teach him fist fighting later. When asked how I was feeling, I, of course, downplayed it. I didn't want to be a burden. I'll figure it out. Bro Shivatva handed me a grocery list of survival tasks, including eating.
Didn't have to tell me twice.
Then I was gently notified that my stats sharply fell when the bandit Grad used takedown, and it was super effective. After patching myself together and looting whatever I could get my hands on, I decided to build my stats back up the usual method.
Oh, it exploded. And did that go on record? Animals killed. It did not go on record.
I ransacked the corpse for the cadaverific clothes and handed the rest of him to Hans as a trauma teddy bear. For comfort, to finish Mom 2's chores, I went looking for a bath, consumed everything edible in the area, borrowed an axe permanently, and picked all the herbs from Mom's garden.
That rabbit was moonwalking. Nature is amazing.
After I was done stalking the rabbits, I did a sweet 360 of the roof, snapped some sweet photos, and then the game refused my artistic vision to bury the trash cluttering the yard in the outhouse.
Yo, Krim, my friend, what's going on? So majestic. So handsome. I feel like a freaking Disney princess. Oh my goodness me. Is it Wabbit season? How did the saying go again? When gathering stuff from the nature, pick as much as you can find. Don't leave anything for others. Something like that.
On my way back from the grass and stuff land, the dog starts barking. That usually means problems in fluent canine. Or maybe there was an impertinent squirrel in the tree. So I fortified my courage with a snap, unholstered my fists, and walked into the front yard, full of suspiciously armed garbage. They claim to be the local lord's men, asking about the night squad that got boarded by the pond yesterday. Now, I'm no detective, despite having some experience in the field, but they looked a little too much like they were actively losing the war against hygiene to be telling the truth. So I did that instead. I got the fight I wanted and expected. Thanks to the doggies' help, it was barely any trouble. Actually very easy. After plundering the leftovers, I filed the bodies into the outhouse archives and made some memories with them.
Good boy, that was some good work, thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
My word, they worked you over good.
It's a mere scratch.
Don't play the hero.
Darn, she figured me out.
Because of my alignment, I told Broadwin the truth about us. I'll always tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as long as it's convenient. Then I brewed a potion to help Hans heal faster while sleeping. Made one for myself too, a better one. Forgot to drink it, and went to sleep like a genius. Unsavory Nightmares 3, The Reckoning. My 8-hour cutscene got interrupted by Teresa 2.0. After a neat dream reading, she offered me food.
Don't have to tell me twice.
I ate the pot, yeah, the whole thing. As a reward for my good work, I got to choose a whole bunch of perks. Quick summary, I'm now charming, persuasive, slightly drunk, better dressed, and more dangerous with my hands. Also, all of the descriptions are written like riddles, so I was asking, does this even work with unarmed for the rest of the run? For a while, until I gave up. While sharing some stories of KCD1 with my new family, I was asked to return the things I definitely wasn't stealing.
She caught me with her tools.
After suddenly eavesdropping like a houseplant and listening to Hans's complaints, my new part-time mother figure handed me a lunchbox and some allowance.
I think I've been adopted.
I went in for the emotional moment, and Hans interrupts me. Ketchu will remember this.
I'll make you proud, Mom.
What followed was enough walking to throw a ring into a volcano. When we finally stumbled into a village, Hans immediately locked onto the nearest bathhouse lady like a heat-seeking noble. Luckily, Karma changed his mind quite quickly. Our heroic journey was rewarded with a bucket of human commentary. Turns out, when you look like traveling scarecrows, castles don't open their doors for you. Message remained undelivered. Didn't help that Hans is about as persuasive as he is mature. More on that later. We collected the scraps of our dignity at the tavern. Hans decided to get us food on the shared tab. The plan was simple. Recover, regroup, bury our dead. Then we got distracted by a walk-in national dresser.
Hubba wubba.
I wasn't saying that just to be creepy. She was the same woman from the pond incident, the one we heroically failed near. I approached, hoping for a character reference. She treated me like a contagious rumor and denied the entire pond situation. Fair. However, she did drop a hint about some noble wedding, where important people gather to feel important. That was our new postal angle. Trying to talk to her without sounding or looking like a certified swamp goblin was its own boss fight that I lost.
What are you gaping at? Have you nothing better to do?
Then came the time to work off the tab. Guess who had to work it off? Yours truly. Hans contributed barely emotionally. Well, all the more strength for me then.
And that's why I'm double your size.
So I hoard grain, occasionally taxing the supplies for energy purposes. While Hans flaunted his immaturity again, I tried to stop him from ruining the rest of our evening, but his reasoning was on strike.
Yeah, good work, Hans. Real cool. I'm not having the best of days.
I ended up folding about 3 people, like badly written letters, and frankly, at that point, I didn't care anymore. I just focused on enjoying myself.
Another one bites the dust.
Meanwhile, Hans was tanking hits like his intellectual equal, a brick. I tried to help, and someone jumped me from behind.
How dare you attack me from behind?
The audacity was stunning. Like the pure-blooded peasant prince that I am, I kept evolving mid-fight, picking train hard, fight easy, and deft hands. Still not entirely sure if they applied to punching, but confidence is still half the damage. I was still looking for more action, but the game stepped in like a strict parent and ended recess. Hans, however, was still in creative mode and knocked out another guard, so we spent the night in the pillory. On display, like 2 historical mistakes. Hans's confidence issues blamed me. Naturally, ours has always been a friendship forged in public humiliation, but suddenly that was a problem. He deflected all my attempts at reasoning. After the morning light vanquished the horrible night, Mr. Peace for Brain abandoned me. Just like that. Not ideal, but my life became a whole lot easier. Our next planned disaster was to be at the wedding. As a great man would lay his fork on a puddle of buckets once implied, this is where the real game begins.
Or the scrapbook, and my eyes are of course closed.
I interrogated the countryside like sheriff of not enough ham, snapped a few artistic masterpieces, and harvested enough herbs to concern the ecosystem. In an attempt to restore my honor, I returned to finish my previously interrupted chores. The old bat responded by emotionally uninstalling me from the conversation. Fine, whatever. I traded everything I had to my name to afford me some lockpicks. The guy we fought against was actually a pretty cool dude. We bonded over the bruises. Outside the tavern, 3 intellectuals were arguing. I, of course, no sin, and managed to defuse the situation with a few sentences by making me the target of their hostility. Because my mouth is a golden retriever that escaped the yard, I barely made it out in one piece from fighting them. I was so embarrassed I wished everybody else was dead. On the upside, I looted all their gear as reparations and ran into the woods giggling. Next plan? Heal up, potion, bed, nap, simple. The bed's owner did not like that, so I attempted to negotiate using hands-on diplomacy. He didn't like that either. After a brief exchange, he escalated to an axe, which is when I learned that woodcutters are, in fact, shockingly proficient with woodcutting tools. The more you know. Learned from that, I set out to find Belladonna for Xavier's schnapps, because it really wasn't fun doing all the village things again. The funny thing is, I have a hard time spotting things that are not actively moving. I don't know what it is, but I'd be the worst gatherer in history. Nearby cows, however, pinged my internal targeting system immediately, so I boxed them for experience and somehow took damage in the process. Pro tip, horns are not decorative. The archer in the archery range pissed me off by existing too close to the stuff I wanted. He didn't like me sleeping in his bed either. We disagreed on so many things. I also met a naked man near the woods. Bro wanted 40 coins for the privilege of fighting him. A bold business model, one that I couldn't afford. While wandering in the forest, I kept running into some weird cows too fast for punching and found a hidden treasure I couldn't idiot open. Deeper into nowhere, I finally found a stupid plant between some hills.
Belladonna, finally.
Miles away from anything useful. Perfect. Back in Good Springs. I spent 13 minutes turning 12 Belladonna into 19 Xavier snaps. And then I finally discovered drying racks. After that, I spent the night collecting donations to the Church of Me. Every week luck in the village got a visit. Every coin purse felt lighter. Every stew pot experienced losses.
Great.
Shut up.
I choked out whoever was horizontally available, borrowed their keys permanently, punched a few cows for balance, and closed every door behind me like a gentleman. The local alchemist, however, stood his ground. After he heard me crack his door open, he guarded his estate until morning. I respected his stubbornness. Working on my sociology PhD revealed that choking out one of the 2 spouses sleeping next to each other is generally frowned upon. When the morning crawled to peek over the horizon, my stats followed suit. Stealth went from 5 to 8, thievery ticked up by 1. I set a waypoint to the miller to offload my sins, took one last look at the village.
Goodbye, village with no name.
I started the journey the same way I approach most life decisions.
Wow. Yup. Frick you. I'll see you again later.
On the way to the mill, I got drunk, assaulted a messenger for cardio,
That's a good one.
punched some cows for continuity reasons, avoided getting fondled by guards.
Nee.
Interesting trip.
Greetings, friend. I see you're not exactly suffering from thirst, eh?
You think you're funny, don't you? I arrived to the mill a confident, hydrated disaster. Got a job simply by asking, just like Boomer said it would happen. Then somehow got promoted within hours. 1 minute I was hauling floor sacks, the next I was handling sensitive documents. They also offered on-the-job training. My takedown practice dummy probably got brain damage from all the oxygen he wasn't enjoying. I also picked up a side hustle, feeding all the miller's fighters for extra cash. Man, employment is easy. When the sun gave up for the day, I was still full of exploratory energy. To kick things off, I enjoyed some roadside showmanship. To the spectator, go the spoils. The documentary of natural selection continued when I discovered a trail of cabbages and followed them like breadcrumbs. Back in Good Springs, the local sheriff complained about some malcontent stealing cabbages. A man after my own heart. I had no intention of catching him, of course. My involvement was entirely accidental. Because the game wouldn't let me talk to sleeping people, I tried speeding up the waking up process by choking him unconscious, then played with his sucky body for a bit.
He's there with his beloved cabbages. He's not waking up, is he?
Ignoring all boundaries, I slept in his bed until he finally woke up. I promised not to turn him in. Partly because I felt bad for him, and partly because he was operating on a level of stupidity I could only respect professionally. What really won me over though was his promise of unlimited sauerkraut in exchange for cabbages. I started by trading his own cabbages back. As the Japanese would say, business. With most of his wealth either in my pockets or my digestive system, I returned to the mill, only to discover some bitch sleeping in my spot. I evicted her manually and used her unconscious body as a pillow. After graduating puberty and learning how to do laundry, I was shocked to discover that Semin was a village. On my first attempt at making contact, a guard chased me around the entire playground. Around the same area code, I met my contact, Zinek. He filled me in on the missing document, which he'd lost after getting caught and enjoying a scenic tour of the stocks. So now I had a lead, and significantly more cabbage experience than I needed. Back at Tutorial Town, I arrived with a plan. A bad one, but a plan. Step 1. Buy the soap recipe, invest in ingredients, and spend the evening doing arts and crafts, then sell the products for profit. Step 2. Spend the rest of the money practicing haggling by buying and selling potions. Step 3. Break into the apothecary's chest and reclaim my investments. The execution was flawless, except for the part where I couldn't open the chest, so I adapted to the market and stole everything else instead. Then I got distracted, by which I mean I started choking and robbing anything that had pockets or opinions. By some divine intervention, I remembered Pestel's manuscript before sunrise. You know, the entire reason I was in the area. Still hadn't got the slightest clue how choking works, so eventually I just pickpocketed the key to the rat house chest from the guard, slithered into the basement, stole a book, and whatever was nesting in the document chest. Oh, and I forgot to sell the soap. The road back to the mill was educational. First, 3 bandits tried to sell me an apple for $100. I tried playing dumb to tug on their heartstrings. Turns out they didn't have any. To wiggle myself out of that pickle, I lured my problems back to Semin. A ragged man stepped in to help, swinging at those bandits like a Skyrim NPC looking to box a dragon. The outcome was worse, however. Unlike in Skyrim, the NPCs aren't protected by essential oils. Now I'm curious how true that statement is, actually. 2 of the bandits got bored and left, which is honestly insulting. The third one, however, became my biggest fan. While a guard was putting him down, he kept looking at me the whole time. Now this is the attention I deserve.
Thank you. Don't mind if I do. Free stuff.
The meal was only a few wolf bites away, but I didn't wish to intrude on their family meal, and getting torn to shreds was not in my bingo list for that day. Back at the mill, the miller revealed a shocking twist. He lied. Instead of getting me into the wedding, he handed me another job and a lecture on alchemy so long, I considered placing my fist into his mouth at Mach 3 to see if he'd arrive to the point any faster. I'm starting to think I'm not getting that lanyard either. Anyway, my next job was to find saltpeter, because he wants to use it as a heart for his golem made out of flour. I wish I was joking. After finally remembering to sell all the soap, I traded it for a skill book on thievery.
What you looking at in there? It's empty, you idiot.
With my newfound academic background in crime, I set out to hunt bandit camps at night, so the campfires could enthusiastically advertise themselves. I picked a direction at random and went south. Then something exploded in the distance, and I went to poke on that instead. What I thought would be a camp turned out to be a mine, where my saltpeter contact was suffering from Zinek's existence. I ignored all of that and kept moving. Further south, I found a poacher's camp, an empty poacher's camp, perfect. Among the everything I looted, there was what I can only assume was medieval breakfast cereal. On the way back, I picked a herb bouquet. According to the miller, my contact would appreciate the gesture. At her cave, I stole everything in the chest first, then introduced myself properly. I already liked Bonnie for 3 reasons. She actually gets out of bed when spoken to, looks like she's related to little Nikki, and she asked if I wanted to talk more than necessary, because the only one she has to talk to is the brain-dead Zinek. I agreed, because she was the first one to ask me that. Top 1% NPC. Eventually, the discussion devolved into railroad tier conspiracy nonsense, and she asked me to come up with a secret code name. I just gave her my real name and made it her problem. Oh, and she appreciated the bouquet. To usher a new era in quest completedness, I needed to go around identifying saltpeter by licking things. Specifically, corpses or worse, poop. My career is peaking. Jokes on them. That's how I usually identify things. I'm not welcome in real fake doorknob stores anymore. Back at the mill, the miller woke up to the sounds of me reclaiming my bed.
Was that you? Never mind.
They are getting used to my shenanigans. The poacher's camp didn't make me rich, But that's fine, I wasn't done yet. The next night, guided by a suspiciously helpful light source in the forest, I happened upon a thieves' camp. Professional courtesy kicked in. I stole all their stuff, ate their food, and celebrated by creating some very special memories that they will never recall. Honestly, the timing was perfect. I was one hunger pang away from becoming an environmental storytelling skeleton. I'm such a penny pincher that I'd rather starve until nighttime than pay for food instead of committing burglary for it. Unfortunately, the thieves' stew wasn't enough, so I tried drinking the hunger away, which worked mainly on my sobriety.
Hey, I'm just eavesdropping here. Can I have some of that, please? I'm so hungry.
While waiting for capitalism to roll out of bed, I punched some horses, solved a riddle, bought clothes fancy enough that people finally started treating me with the respect I deserve, and climbed up to 1400 groschen, selling the thieves' prized possessions back into society. My plan to milk Semin for speech experience didn't bear fruit, because the locals had the conversational range of nothing. The second part of my plan, scoping the area for valuables, also failed immediately. Apparently, moving items into my inventory for identifying purposes counts as stealing. Some old bat spotted me creeping around, put 2 and 2 together, and became extremely rude about the whole thing. To wash my hands, I sprinkled the problem items on the ground.
Mine.
Case closed. I then accepted a ride from a kind stranger, who, unknowingly, dropped me off directly beside the active crime scene. Since the guards were still looking for me, I booked a trip on Zhang's mare to bother someone else. Along the way, I day drank aggressively, picked up some belladonna, got chased by bandits, and relearned that shortcuts are usually shorthand for suffering. Eventually, I arrived in Zeleyov, a theme park of stimulation. First order of business: repair the vessel. I fixed my wounds, clothes, and hygiene at the bathhouse. Haggled like my survival depended on it, visited the barber for emotional support, and interrupted a philosophical argument about poetry. Naturally, I sided with the hedonist. More importantly, this area also had a fight club. Thanks to my previous achievements in beating up the Miller's fighters, I had already qualified to participate. I bet on myself immediately. But first, I had to convince the barber's wife to let him compete. I promised to beat him up so badly he would never want to fight again. Shockingly, that worked. Then Anna, a bathhouse lady, asked me to really beat up one of the fighters. Apparently, he'd been getting handsy and throwing hands. My pleasure. Unable to remember who was who, I prepared to beat all the fighters equally. The moment the theoretical bell rang, I ate a sucker punch to the face. I respected the initiative and adopted that strategy immediately. The second fighter was the local Groper. I helped separate him from a tooth. I cleared the whole roster without breaks. To celebrate my rise through the competitive punching scene, I played dice, lost again, and took it out on the nearest wall. Anna rewarded my emotional maturity by teaching me survival skills. The tavern keep dropped a tip on the regional boxing grandmaster. That title belonged to me. After that, I spent several hours standing outside the bathhouse like a psycho, sizing up the place like a meal planning snake. When darkness finally hit, I made my money back, all of it, and more. The many tavern folks also made several involuntary donations to the cause. I left the place in plentiful financial confusion. After setting my sights on the Grandmaster, I immediately fell off a cliff, brought back to the bathhouse, paid for the treatment with their money, and still haggled aggressively. I was quite thorough last night.
Everybody's naked, they stole all their clothing.
Back on the road, I ran into the Three Stooges again in Tokwa. Instead of getting the rematch I wanted, I accidentally persuaded them and got called a meddler for my efforts.
I was so close to winning, and then she beat me in one turn. What the frick's happening? F you. I'll see you next time.
After that, I admired the maypole, prepared mentally for the upcoming title match, until some idiot came screaming from the woods about it. When I finally met the Grandmaster himself, grilling him revealed the location of a nearby enemy camp. Succession plan secured. We tussled. He earned his title. I took it anyway. Afterward, he patched me up, taught me some skills, and offered a drink.
Did you say meat?
3 hours later,
know.
I had extracted his entire life
never
story
met
for
a
experience
hermit like
points. So there I was, still drunk, close to midnight, and feeling inspired. Naturally, I decided to go after the nearby bandit camp Baba mentioned.
Great.
Kiss your ass goodbye.
They actually woke up because of that.
It genuinely never occurred to me that Henry photo noises might have consequences. I peeled one of the bandits away from camp, dragged him to the herbalist shack, and defeated him through the power of friendship.
I brought it as an offering to Baba. He didn't even wake up. They will have so many questions when they wake up.
The other bandit just went back to sleep. Honestly, relatable. I was looking to do some art here, but it's not working for me. Carrying the whole bandit camp on my back banned me from fast twitching, so I had to waddle back manually toward No Name Village. Along the way, I tied up a loose end that had been bothering me by paying Boromir a mature expression of my feelings for inconveniencing my life, and farted on his face.
Revenge is sweet.
There's about 1% chance anyone horizontally lacking momentum near me isn't about to find their stuff circulating in local market. Heavier and slower than before, I resumed the shuffle, cosplayed as a scarecrow to pass the time, bought a second set of fancy clothes in case I run into Hans again, and reached 2.6k monies. Capitalism! Next goal? Find dark meat. On the way, I discovered a profitable, high-leverage side project.
I'll be back here later.
There was a bandit fondling the tumbling mat beneath the cliff where I'd previously nailed the tutorial landing. I convinced him not to rob me, then immediately choked him out for his stuff and returned him to the sea.
An excellent picture. Oh mom, I'm back. I came to pay back our debt.
Thank you, Henry. You're an honorable man who doesn't make promises lightly.
After I was done blushing and kicking pebbles, we had a long discussion about our missing things. My duck meat and her Teresa 2.0. I promised to help. First up, her room. I found a suspicious man hat hacked into her chest, touched everything in case it triggered a quest, then carefully put it all back. Mom had nothing to add.
Mom, there's no food. Gosh darn it.
Priority 1 was to employ my dog Sniffer. I fully expected him to solve the investigation for me. After supporting the local bathhouse, still too poor to afford clothes, I shook the tavern keeper for information. No dogs there, but he did point me toward a pack-size wool problem. Great. He also suggested talking to the gamekeeper. Side note, habitually snug Rising Soul survivors is still alive and peak from KCD1. Further along my world's worst detective arc, I climbed the 10,000 steps and learned from the Grey Beardless that gamekeeper was in another castle. Fantastic. More missing people. My second lead sent me toward a shepherd asking for help with wolves. I declined the exciting experience of getting torn apart by a wolf pack. Apparently, not volunteering for death hurts your reputation. I didn't leave empty-handed though. I looked into a side hustle of converting his sheep into experience too.
Oh wait, I shouldn't piss off a ram. I'd get my ass beat.
The sheep were too short to practice on anyway.
Yup, got my reputation's worth. Freak you, by the way.
With that trail out cold, I pivoted back to finding the gamekeeper instead, hoping that he'd be someone useful for once.
I love cutting through the forests. I hope I find another bandit camp. Those things are like my piggy banks.
On the way through the forest, I ran into an aggressive loot pack. To avoid fighting, I unleashed the most disgusting pity story imaginable.
My mother recently passed away. I don't have a groschen to my name. I used to help the knacker haul corpses for a pittance. Then I had to lug pails of shit to the skimmer pit. I reeked so bad the villagers chased me away with sticks. And this morning, I got swept away in the creek. I'm still dripping now. My friend lost a leg because of all the pus oozing out of it. I've got rid of most of the lice, so that rash on my back must be from something else.
Christ. Go, please, just go.
That was disgusting.
After relieving him of his worldly possessions, I posed him on a rock to sunbathe like a lizard.
He will be so upset when he wakes up. And tanned.
Not much further down the path, the lingering silly lizard image in my mind was replaced by a new target.
Hold right there, sir. Wow, free money everywhere.
Eventually, I found the gamekeeper stuck in a tree, surrounded by forest puppies, curious to see what his insides looked like.
Not my freaking clothes! You mutt!
The man screamed continuously throughout the entire encounter.
Don't worry, I'm an experienced dog trainer.
Since potions were disabled during combat, I grabbed whatever perks appeared mid-fight and prayed they did something useful. Once I got the rhythm down, the fight actually wasn't too bad. Still almost tight though. The guy was drunk and immediately hurt his ankle on the way down. Useless. I had to carry him to his secret camp so he could grab his horse. We started the journey with a drink, because clearly that was the missing ingredient. My passenger inspired me with complaints, so I tried solving the noise by dropping him off a cliff.
My plan didn't work.
One of the landmarks was an anthill, so I made sure he checked it for accuracy.
Are you bloody mad? Why are you putting me down on the anthill?
That's freaking perfect, now it's raining. This is just the worst.
By the time we reached the camp, the horse was MIA, of course, and he still couldn't walk.
It hasn't been a good day for either of us.
New objective, find the horse. Again, more and more shit kept dropping on my plate, and I still just wanted my dog. The bandits holding the horse weren't interested in talking. My second attempt at getting to know them didn't end much better, especially when a wolf showed up and immediately sided with them. Karma, probably. After that, I approached the negotiations with a bit more patience. They kept walking into the same choking spot, like it was a rota system, and every time one went down, another woke up to replace him. Eventually I had so much loot I had to start being selective. Still took all their weapons anyway, just in case they woke up mid-heist and still remembered how arms work.
Bye bye.
Driving back blasted wasn't easy, but I completed the human luggage delivery, got a new save point for my troubles, and the location of the woodland puppies. In the end, I had no choice but to risk life and limb with the wolf pack. Neat. Later, Samin guards reminded me I was still hot stuff, and confiscated my goods, blacksmith kits, and money. Investigating a place I've been eyeing for a while led me straight into a horse dealership, and inside it, Pebbles, my missing horsepower. I promise I didn't forget about her. I just filed her under future assets. I got her back for free because I looked rich. And rich people simply get what they want. After getting the keys to my emotional vehicle, I pimped my ride with the finest bumpers at the shop. After that, picked by wine, I bumped my way toward the wolf pack, parked my horse at a safe distance because I enjoyed her continued existence. My disgruntled prayers were answered. I found my pupper living his best life at the cave. My bestest buddy still remembered me. Our reunion was fast interrupted when Scar stepped out of the cave, and the entire pack decided we looked like group activity.
Well, this looks bad. Henry, you don't use a weapon anyway. What you doing?
But Dogmeat had no question in his mind who his OG childhood friend was.
And we're fighting. Come on. Come on.
If not friend, why friend-shaped? I couldn't see how my dog was doing mid-fight, because the game banned me from rotating my head smoothly. This swiftly unlocked a new combat habit, constant complaining. Very mature, I know. Once my limbs were punched through, everything changed, when I learned how to command Dogmeat.
Nice. Oh, Rico. That's right, you mothers. Run.
After the fight, we had a moment. I wanted to feed him, but had nothing. So in a galaxy brain maneuver, I butchered a wolf.
Oh crap.
It didn't count as a kill. Maybe Dogmeat was the one that got it. Either way, new ID unlocked. Maybe my dog can send folks into the great recycling bin of reincarnation, while I stay morally undefeated.
Look what I have for you.
Maybe I shouldn't have fed him full wolf meat.
Inside the cave, there was nothing but remains of one person.
Oh, poor human.
My world-class detective work into Teresa 2.0 case started with me investigating a pair of suspicious pants I somehow missed the first time. Then I hit the no-name village and questioned anything with a pulse, way past the point of necessity, to grind that one speech XP point per line of dialogue. Disrespectful returns. I also bought new glasses to look smarter, and it worked. On me. Dogmeat, meanwhile, had not forgotten how to be a problem. A trail of questions suggested checking the boyfriend's house for clues. My quest for a warrant from the bailiff didn't work out. Instead, I got trapped listening to a scribe talk about legends until my brain activated screensaver. 10 out of 10 would disassociate again. While passing through town, I apologized to the innkeeper for the Hans disaster. She was dealing with a human trouble, so I diffused the situation before it became a local historical event. The humans left hungry, so I fed the sausages to Dogmeat later. Circle of life. I also got some backstory on Mom's eviction from the town subplot from the landlord. He basically confirmed she was not at fault. Shocking. At the boyfriend's house, I emptied his chest for evidence, you know, just in case. New breadcrumbs led me to a crime scene, decorated with a bloody rock. Not ideal.
Uh-oh.
Time was clearly of the essence, so I collected all the food to prevent spoilage. Somewhere, someone is hungry. Probably, so I better eat it. Dogmeat took over tracking duties, using garbage-based forensic sniffing science, all according to Cake. The walk got so long that I started questioning whether we were tracking Teresa, or I was just following a confident dog into the wilderness. Sometime later, Dogmeat kicked his cousin's butt.
My dog is the best.
We arrived at destination Teresa, Oda, knife, neck, check. Apparently just a prank. Boyfriend didn't survive the choke. At least he won't miss his belongings. I applied the ancient art of gaslighting to trigger the "actually let's not" dialogue branch.
Alright, I'll let her go. But on one condition. You'll let me walk away. Will you promise that?
You have my word. Just set her free.
Alright. Alright. Just take it easy.
You swine!
I'm letting her go.
Die!
Look!
Die! Die! That's for Roman! You bastard!
Wow. You go, girl. Alright, excuse me. I'll have the loot now. And the weapon. Alright. Talking time.
After things cooled down, Teresa wanted to leave immediately. I asked all the remaining questions anyway, just in case Trouble wanted a sequel. She also asked me not to tell Mom about her pregnancy. I agreed. Her future problems are not my problems. What I did have a problem with later was that I forgot to take a picture of Teresa's first kill. Back home, I failed to talk Mom down from the path of bloody vengeance, but convinced her to let me try diplomacy first. Then I reloaded a safe to see if Oda followed through with his threats. On my way to inconvenience more people, I converted a human ambush into a financial opportunity. Then I wandered into a village feud, where two towns were playing competitive capture the flag with a maypole. There was a forbidden Roman subplot that I exploited immediately. I promised to guard the pole, while Henrik snuck off to meet his girlfriend. I didn't steal the pole in the meantime. That would have been mean. It's not because I just couldn't find an axe anywhere. Instead, I found an arrest warrant with my name on it. Once Henrik returned, I escalated his thanks into aggro because the girlfriend's parents asked me to. Things deteriorated from there. I waddled across the countryside, over-encumbered, in search of an axe. Helped the guard fight bandits mid-detour, did the fat run of shame back across the everything, accidentally sold stolen goods, and solved the problem with money like a true member of the upper class. I also ran into a nobleman down on his luck and invested 300 groschen into future political favoritism that never paid off. Eventually, I returned to Maypole Village armed with an axe, opened my crime resume, paid 600 in fines, and climbed the pole under the cover of darkness. Slowly, menacingly, I hacked the decorations loose, while the nearby guard demonstrated breathtaking situational awareness. Nobody noticed a thing. Then I doubled back and actually grabbed the maypole decoration. Later, some bandits ambushed a mercenary like a loading screen thief. The mercenary immediately dismounted from his horse and abandoned his only tactical advantage. Genius. I cleaned up the leftovers. Afterward, I spent an unreasonable amount of time carrying one unconscious bandit around, waiting for him to wake up, so I could use him as a training dummy. Then Dogmeat suddenly started barking like an air raid siren.
Okay. I get it, what the frick's going on? Oh, there's a camp.
Come here, boy.
Thank you.
I was, actually, just searching for a nettle bush to throw my portable criminal into, but accidentally wandered into a village. I showed the guard the person on my shoulder, but his only concern was my lack of a torch.
And lo, there was light, and he saw that it was good.
The moment I put the bandit down, he woke up and immediately entered a spontaneous boss fight with the guard. I watched for a bit, got bored, and deployed Dogmeat. The bandit went full-time horizontal about it.
Whoops.
Fortunately, that apparently counted as nature damage. The Maypole heist reward absolutely was not worth the effort. Old Olbram had more pranks in mind, but I stuffed them into my journal and forgot about them. Everybody on that farm was really rude about me trying to sleep in their beds. The moment I laid my head down in a camp nearby, someone screamed. Sensing the urgency, I slept for 12 hours first. Turns out, somebody had become dinner.
Hey, I want some of that too. Sharing is caring. Not my clothes!
I tried to reward Dogmeat for the fight, but that went downhill immediately.
Okay, that food is gone. Oh, hello. Look who came back for more.
Back at the village of no name, I broke into the rat house and developed a dangerous new hobby, stealing and reading every book I could find. After that, as I was washing my clothes near the usual meal, my heart nearly stopped.
Did my dog just die? Okay, dogs. It's fine.
On my way to check on Teresa 2.0, looking for new potion recipes, I ran into an old knight at a camp. We debated politics, and naturally, solved nothing with words. He obliterated me in 2 strikes. I stole all his stuff for it.
I've been attacked! Help!
Okie dokie.
You can't take me!
You can't take me as I run away.
You fight like an old hag!
Keep running away and screaming profanities.
I dragged the 2 dumplings around for several minutes, until a random human rode in and beat both of their asses for me.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
After that, I unlocked a brand new achievement, Advanced Stupidity, Food Poisoning. I fast traveled to Mom, because that's what heroes do.
You're always welcome here.
Thanks, Mom.
Unfortunately, neither of them were interested in helping me survive. No charcoal, no cure. The potion I crafted anyway, shockingly, did nothing. While actively dying, I maintained aggressive eye contact with Teresa 2.0 the entire time, so she'd remember this moment when she chose not to help. So yeah, everything I accomplished that day got erased from existence because of a bad sandwich. Since I failed to diplomat's mother, I returned to the Maypole village to grind speech. The locals had a huge issue with my horse for some reason. Well, they weren't fond of me in general. So naturally, I escalated the situation by punching a guard in the face, and then verbally cartwheeling them into leaving me alone, for educational purposes. Speech experience doesn't grow on trees. After successfully gaslighting law enforcement into submission multiple times, and the guards absolutely hated me, I decided my tongue was finally strong enough to tackle my mom's ancient beef, back in No Name Village. Dogmeat was busy breakdancing on emotional trauma, while I emotionally manipulated Yakesh into acting reasonable for once in his miserable life. On the way back to mom's, I ran into that night again. This time, I bravely chose survival.
The furry alarm system is screaming again. It's a bucket. Thank you, Dogmeat.
While the knight sparred with someone else, I held myself to his chest. Call it compensation for the ass beating. He didn't give me this time. Back at mom's, I told her Yakesh agreed to leave the past in the behind, threw in some compensation money, and even pretended to be decent. She tried to give me half. I declined. Family is thicker than blood, even when they stood there and watched me die earlier. Yakesh also said they could move back to the village. I did not pass that along. I'm not sharing my family. At this point, I was pretty sure I had enough speech to convince people I was a dinosaur.
Oh, right. The main quest.
On the way to the knacker, I destroyed 2 lockpicks trying to outsmart a chest inside a chapel, or whatever that aggressively haunted shed was supposed to be. The knacker wanted me to help him with corpse duty, in exchange for the Saltpeter Pit location. He accepted my desperate, meat-based bribes to avoid the draft, then pulled the rug from under me anyway. In retaliationary frustration, I robbed his cellar and his bedroom chest. The wagon ride was so boring, I got completely wasted just to survive it. My only solace was seeing someone walk their dog on the way. Things quickly escalated into fight a wolf, stop a fight, bury cows, and hold dead pigs. I hated every second of it. Clearly, I didn't have the knack for this. Then he asked me to poison a dog. Challenge rules said no. My conscience also said no. I started mentally drafting a resignation letter on the spot. Before abandoning the Miller path entirely, I found Barney loitering nearby, and she wanted a replacement dog for the one that went to live on a farm. Turns out, the current owner was abusing the beast in question too, which made me extremely tempted to repurpose the poison. I sold the knacker a professionally curated lie about the dog's death. He bought it, took me to the pit. I tanked the contents like I had medical insurance. We filled the holes. And despite living through 3 emotional winters, it was somehow still noon when we got back. After reporting back to the miller, we finally started talking about infiltrating the wedding. Was there a catch? Well, of course. I need to complete 3 more sacred labors. I hate that man. Next playthrough, I'm siding with the blacksmith. It can't be anywhere this annoying.
Were you watching me sleep? I'd call you creepy, but you're too good looking for that. I know how it is.
On the way to the first task, I found a man tied up by the roadside. Expecting an ambush, I approached him with the trust levels of a feral cat. Shockingly, he'd actually just been robbed, so I healed him, gave him pants, and handed over some money. I also resisted the overwhelming urge to reclaim my investment. I'm a good guy after all. While training stealth, I aggressively donated some money to Bharat the beggar. Accept my charity! Then I spent the next 20 minutes locked in a Mortal Kombat with alchemy, just to satisfy my perfectionism, and to make enough perfume for both the quest and myself. I made a quick stop to psychologically enrich a guy in the stocks, before stealing the quest dress and everything else from the tailor, while a hangover was using my skull as a war drum. The miller's final sacred labor was hiring a cuddle merchant to distract Chamberlain Ulrich long enough for me to steal a rare book from the castle. Apparently, none of the local girls wanted anything to do with him. The reasons were never explained, which somehow explained enough. They pointed me toward another lady instead, strategically hidden inside a nomad camp, located in the most inconvenient place imaginable. On the way there, I injured myself trying to brute force a shortcut through the hills. Then I got lost anyway.
The road work in Bohemia is shameful.
Near the camp, I took another shortcut and absolutely ruined my clothes.
Such a crappy day, nothing's going my way.
So I paused for emotional recovery and accidentally enrolled in Nomad Family Drama 101. The more I learned about their culture, the more convinced I became that the Romani crew evolved specifically to shoot themselves in the leg professionally. Before leaving, I recruited the Huck merchant. She needed wine for the mission. Luckily, I traveled with enough alcohol to tranquilize a village. Mostly because I'm perpetually blasted. Following some finger pointing, I reached Apollonia, activated my loud tracking device, and found Marika hiding among the rocks with her boyfriend. I won't linger on the details, but the last remnants of the Roman Empire were basically speedrunning self-sabotage. Because blah blah family honor blah. Loads of misunderstandings. What I thought would be a quick romp turned into a full shopping list of chores that drained hours of my life. That's what I like about this game. You don't become a leader of Imperial Companion cloaks just because you return some old crown. On the upside, I got to partake in a fun family grounding party.
I'm feeling a little out of place here.
Rest of the quest in a nutshell, I almost got torn apart by wolves, lost horribly in a horse race.
What the
Won my second game of dice ever, brought peace to the family, and stood awkwardly while others partied. Honestly, mood. And because I entered the camp from the wrong side the first time, I only discovered the fast travel point after wasting another lifetime driving back there.
Hey, dog meat. You making friends? Yeah, so leans against pole. He's my dog. No? Darn it.
Before heading out, I absorbed a few rumors and learned Hans had, apparently, evolved into a forest cryptid. Good for him. I grabbed the mattress companion, infiltrated the wedding, and discovered von Bergov, the entire reason we even bothered going there, was running late. Funnily, I knew almost everyone there. The whole thing felt like a reunion episode. Some random fungus of a man was bothering a girl, so I removed him from the social food chain. Then I politely stood around pretending I understand conversation. Very out of character. I don't talk to girls. Then the wedding exploded into a side quest buffet. The gamekeeper asked me to babysit him so he wouldn't drink. I said yes for reasons I still don't understand.
I haven't seen a gamekeeper freaking anywhere.
The man kept slipping away to drink, and I kept intercepting him like a drunk-related antivirus program. He actually thanked me later. Stockholm Syndrome any percent complete. Later, I got dragged into dancing with some old lady's daughter as a favor. She danced like a horse trying to escape a house fire and kicked with a similar enthusiasm. I told her I enjoyed it. That was diplomacy. When she tried to escalate things, I claimed I'm impotent for the same reason my shins hurt, just to avoid hurting her feelings. And also survival instincts. The familiar innkeeper, Betty, was there too, and I promised there wouldn't be any fights this time. A quest to eat as much as possible was shoved on my plate. Finally, a task built for my build. I even got drunk just to access the premium snacks.
Hans! Hans!
There was no talking with Mr. Snodigus yet. Then Ulrich cornered me about the girl we hired. Apparently, somebody dragged her away, and when I asked for a description...
Nasty. With a face so cheeky you'd like to slap it at first sight.
Oh, that's Hans. Yep.
The way he acted. Haughty. As if he had blue blood and shat pure gold. I have a nose for that.
Oh? For golden shit?
For young curs who think they're the smartest in the whole world.
Well, what do you know? Of course it was Hans. The plan collapsed. Ulrich requested something so cursed that even the lady who specialized in Unhinged politely resigned from the conversation. Then Mr. Goomba showed up again and spit a sorry diss track at Hans. I went full devil tongue on him.
Hey, you animal! Do you have any idea who you're mouthing off to? This is Sir Hans Cape on a Perkstein. He could have you pilloried for a month for talking like that.
Oh, I had no idea. Excuse me, sir.
Hans was like...
Enelin handed me Ulrich's ring. I told him she wasn't coming back and quietly kept the ring. Meanwhile, Lord von Bergo was still missing. The wedding just started anyway. Hans and the Snuggle companion danced out in the open like idiots. Meanwhile, I found the miller in the middle of testing his anti-drunk potion. When I went to congratulate the couple, the groom had vanished, so I awkwardly comforted the bride instead. Then Mr. Toadpoop, who we all know and don't care about, showed up again, misunderstood the situation, and somehow beat my ass, despite me being a decorated veteran in the marital art of not getting smashed. Get it? Hans remembered who his best friend was. It turned into a group project, and I think all the people I had helped joined my faction for the season finale. My promise to Betty aged like fine milk in a volcano. Anyway, despite what I chose to do here, I think there is only one way things can go, which is a bummer. Then we got a quick infomercial on Godwin getting sent after the two missing zoo animals. In a complete predictable twist of events, we got arrested. Hans actually apologized. I kept quiet, stockpiling brain cells until I had a good answer. Next thing I knew, I was getting dragged out to serve my time labor style. And Hans was scheduled for the next wing. There was no way I was letting that happen. The guard hit me with the rules. No fun, only work. I looked at him, looked at the situation, and moved swiftly into planning crimes. We'll see about that. Turns out, I had until 12 pellet holes before Hans got discontinued. Waiting around wasn't exactly a winning strategy. My job was to carry charcoal sacks. I half-assed one of them near the drop-off point, got bored, and started testing the boundaries. For that, I had to show a guard why they call me Henry of Gaslits.
I just wanted to hug her. To surprise her from behind. Women love that, I've heard.
What? Really?
Yeah. Only she was startled, which startled me. And it ended up how it ended up. I really regret it.
Christ. All right. We'll let it go this time, but no more funny stuff with strange women.
Then I had to verbally weasel my way out of breaking and entering as well. With an equally stupid explanation, it circled back to believable.
Look, can you keep a secret?
What are you talking about? What secret?
Look, we're both men, aren't we?
Where are you going with this? You're testing my patience.
It's like this. Yesterday, I met this pretty girl. She makes yarn. And you know what they say about girls who work with spinning wheels?
No, what?
They're really good in bed.
Haha, that's a good one.
Well, this yarn spinner, she was very afraid her mother would find out we planned on meeting. So she gives me these complicated directions on where to meet her. At high noon, I stood at the shadow of the tallest linden tree, and step by step, I set out. Then all of a sudden, I look around and realise I have no idea where I am. The girl's nowhere to be seen, and people are yelling at me. That girl made a right fool of me.
Haha, that's what you get for thinking with your prick.
Aye. I've had enough embarrassment for one lifetime. Can't we just let this one slide?
All right then.
If you think that stopped me from snooping around, breaking into places, and handing out unsolicited hugs, you haven't been paying attention.
Well, I'm out of options. Best to pretend I'm working while I plan my next move.
Aren't you supposed to be up top hauling sacks? Get to it.
I am hauling sacks, you idiot.
The moment another sack hit the pile, I went to explore deeper, and I couldn't believe what I saw. Mr. Moldipants was trying his luck with a lady. Did I interfere? Absolutely. Frick him. When I was busy looting a cellar, the first bell tolled. That's when it hit me. This wasn't background noise. That was a countdown. And somehow, despite looting every drop of alcohol in sight, I was so focused on the mission, I forgot to drink. Almost character development. I delivered another sack, got yelled at by a guard for not working, while actively working, and started questioning if everyone here shared one brain cell. Then they told me to haul 3 more sacks deeper into the castle. Longer route, more effort. Absolutely not. I went exploring again. That's when I found Ulrich in the kitchen, curled up like a man who had lost a fight with his own stomach. I convinced him I was a university student from Prague. Turns out, I actually knew enough medicine to diagnose him with a stomach ulcer. Now, here's the best part. Their official physician had prescribed balancing the humors by increasing silver in the body, which meant wearing jewelry and lying naked under the moon. But wait, it gets better. The physician made it all up just to mess with him. Humorous. After giving him some dietary recommendations, I promised to brew him a potion, which unlocked me 80% of the castle. While hunting for the alchemy bench, I landed in the chapel and found Captain Thomas cooking himself from the inside out. Feverish, delirious, barely conscious. Which was great, because he was the one guy who could cancel Hans's appointment with gravity. A quick chat with his sister added another potion to my shopping list. 2 birds, 1 increasingly stressed idiot. Took me a while to find the right room, but I made up for it by looting everything within eyesight. On the way, I met scribe Erazim and asked him about the book the miller wanted. Apparently, he didn't have the time to help me because of an upcoming show at the gallows. I left before threatening to shove my punctuation up his semicolon. Once I found the alchemy room, the majestic mammalian mammal we all know and love was thieving around, and I had to convince her to help me.
I'm not stupid. You've no business here. You're snooping around in the surgeon's stuff and God knows what else. It could land you in trouble.
Oh, yeah? How?
Well, for instance, I could take something here. Don't forget, I might be slaving here today, but tomorrow they'll get fed up with me and they'll probably kick me out by morning. And you'll still be here. So it'll be on you. For sure someone saw you coming here.
And you too, no?
Well, there's quite a big difference between you and me. The guards don't pay much attention to me. But you...
I get it. Sometimes it's an advantage.
And sometimes not.
Yes, we discussed her boobs. Awesome. Anyway, her information was worthless. I hit a wall. All the ingredients I needed were sitting in a chest that required lockpick, which I didn't have. Huge shout out to Ulrich, who trusted me with his life, but not the key. I get banging my head against the wall, and the bell had tolled 5 times already. In a moment of pure desperation, I decided the scribe didn't need his belongings as much as I did. My academic and culturally significant theft granted me books and keys. which conveniently unlocked 2 entire rooms worth of chests. Best part, I found the fever tonic I needed. Also grabbed the usual books, alcohol, money, and alchemy particles. 6th bell rang. Still no lockpick or a proper halftime show. I ran into a guard in the kitchen and wasted even more time talking to him. He was hungry, so I gave him food that wasn't flagged as stolen anymore. Did it help? No. Man ate my generosity and stayed useless. Next idea. The blacksmith could conjure me a lockpick. He was zero help. Browsing his wares landed me in some trouble.
Oh my god, I hate this quest.
While gathering ingredients for Ulrich's stomach disaster, a guard tried to send me back to jail for not working. I talked my way out of it by claiming I was collecting herbs for the kitchen. Why I couldn't just say I was working for Ulrich, the importantest man currently dying in their castle, is beyond me. Maybe I look too like Holmes intolerant to be believable. I hit the blacksmith's wares again, found charcoal and the lockpick. 2 items for the price of 1 emotional victory. Immediately got charged with another crime, but nobody stopped me on the way to the alchemy bench. Honestly, finding charcoal was the most stressful part of this entire operation. I didn't need to raid the surgeon's chest anymore, but I needed to pay me for all the trouble. 8th bell rang as I whipped up the digestive potion. It got named after me. I assume it was either really good or really bad. After I handed the potion to Ulcermancer, the 9th bell doomed encouragingly while I sprinted back to Thomas. I gave the potion to his sister, nailing the timing, saving the day, and the story just kept going anyway. Hans looked absolutely miserable, and somewhere in that moment, I felt something I couldn't quite name, but it translated into, if this doesn't work, I'm breaking my vow and turning this castle into a historical incident. In the end, none of it mattered. One burger rode back in at the last possible second and cancelled the evening's entertainment. Turns out, he'd been ambushed by bandits on the road. After that, we bonded over our mutual hatred of surprise road goblins. Hans recited the letter's contents from memory, peace talks and such. However, one burger wanted to sweep his own doorstep of bandits before he could focus on our issues. Our job? Deliver another message. Kingdom Come Delivery Service 2. I stayed quiet while the adults handled the conversation, which is always my safest setting, until the universe forced me to open my unimportant mouth. Once we were free from politics, Hans gave Ulrich a much-deserved verbal lashing. I just followed the old Ulcermancer to my quarters, nodding politely through his self-important monologue. They gifted me clothes befitting of my status. All of them were worse than what I already had. Shows what they know. I celebrated my freedom by drinking, reading, and by hitting a chest upstairs that had been disrespecting me since before I got my pigs back. Closure. Then I had to make a choice. A choice everyone has to make soon. Do I take the horse offered to me, or keep the old one? My horse could carry more stuff than what they offered, which supported my loot goblin lifestyle. Easy choice.
Yeah, Henry knows what's up.
Great.
Distraction struck. I went chasing the Miller's side quest book. My 3 headaches of breadcrumbs past were disturbing, dumb, and the patron saint of wasting my time.
Hey.
Nice one.
I tried to shift back to main quest, but Hans declared it too late to leave that day. Excellent. Trapped in the side quest purgatory, I took the investigation outside the castle. Checked the quarry. Nothing. Gave a crazy stonemason 600 coins just to see what would happen. Nothing happened. So I reported my investment. Boromir still carried the aura of an unpaid parking ticket. No book on him either. After a full lap of aimless wandering, I finally found the missing link with the book.
How many more times am I gonna have to poke around in corpses and shit for that damn crazy?
My thoughts exactly. The man had literally pooped himself to death, trying to alchemy himself younger, so he could inject the maid with fetal broth. Gross. I handed over the book, Miller complained about the feces coding, and we celebrated this grand intellectual journey by blowing stuff up at the lair. Then Bunny finally gave me my nickname.
Sourdough!
I committed crimes for this. On the way back to the castle, I spent the night sprinting, wild and free, hunting cows, and drinking like I was trying to forget a life I was actively living. Ran into a few travelers along the way, and found a random book just sitting on a bench, while looking for some payback involving a woodcutter from a past timeline. Never found him, but I keep my eyes open. Then I stopped by the archery range and stole Boromir's pants, because he was rude to me earlier.
Henry's really taking his time to focus.
What a view!
What a view!
Right, field study concluded, enough bothering that woman. After talking a card out of a full archaeological dig into my pockets, Hans and I finally set out. He decided the best cure for his mood was a race. My van stood no chance against his sports car.
I lost royally.
At the delivery point, Hans went to socialize with management, while I made the responsible adult decision to do my guide for fun. He destroyed me in 2 strikes.
What?
I stared at the readout button for a concerning amount of time. Personal growth is not pressing it. The local healer, Clara, took care of my wounds. From there, things started smelling off, and not in the usual I'm robbing a cellar way. People's answers to my sudden detective blade didn't add up, and a villager dragged me into the forest to multiply my suspicions. In an area I wasn't supposed to enter according to multiple angry people, I found 2 major red flags. Hans' missing shield, and enough weapons to start a regional disagreement. After fumbling to sneak out and off a cliff, I finally unlocked the perk most accurate to my playstyle. Digging deeper, I found more suspicious stockpiles, beat a guy at archery just to assert dominance, bluffed my way into the dungeon, and found the real lord rotting inside it. At that point, the entire fortress started feeling like a lit fuse, so I sprinted off to prep the horses, then filled Hans in right after he finished embarrassing himself in front of the fake lord. After reporting back to Von Berger, Hans and I got promoted to freelance interrogators, because apparently their own men couldn't pull information out of a tied-up bandit. We confidently promised we could handle it, then stepped outside for a quick moral crisis about it. On the bright side, I handed Hans his shield back as emotional support equipment.
A very curious rat here.
Now, there was no way I wasn't getting the man to sing like a chicken without touching him. Or my name wasn't Henry of Gaslit, which it isn't. Between intimidation, creative conversation, and my threats of rapping at him, he cracked. We confirmed Nepakov, the letter delivery point, was their base. Learned a guy named Jan was ringleading the circus, and the groom from the wedding was involved. Apparently, the rest of the Semin wasn't in on it, just a select group of overachievers. As for why they ambushed us, that conversational bridge collapsed immediately. I could have tried to unlock more with violence, but the interrogation tools could count as weapons. I passed the test, I diminished, and walked outside the cell, and remained virtuous. According to me, anyway. Following the interview, I diplomanced Von Berger into not purging all of Semin. Then there was nothing left but waiting for the Burgrave to get his act together, so we could ride out and handle this properly. You know, as a group, with a plan. Couldn't wait to see how we'd fuck that up. That night, I fulfilled a promise to myself and picked the surgeon's second chest for emotional closure. Inside was everything I needed for the entire Free Hans arc, meaning I could have skipped half the suffering earlier. Great, love that for me. Emotionally stable again, I started meal prepping for future mistakes. Many minutes later, during a casual midnight creep through the knight's quarters, I found a fox potion recipe, which sounded useful. There was also enough weapons and armor in those chests to supply a small coup. Walked out richer, heavier, and somehow still convinced I was the hero of this story.
Don't worry, I'm a saint.
You'd better be.
In the morning, I went around breaking the news of the old librarian's nightmare's official retirement from breathing.
I won't lie, I'm so relieved. Thanks for stopping by.
And she was happy about it? Wow.
After wasting half my lifespan waiting for Burgrave, like an idiot, I wanted to ditch him and leave early with Hans. That's when I got the option to wait with him.
Bit of a traffic congestion going on here.
So, the situation in a nutshell. Despite my successful mouth magic with Von Berger, the Burgrave wanted everyone exiled into an early grave and their estate torched. Hans and I tried to be reasonable, but that may as well have been a cry for violence. So, naturally, we got roped into the fight on Semin's side.
What happened?
Olda, young, passionate, and catastrophically optimistic, decided he was going to stand up to power, which resulted in his entire family getting evicted somewhere outside Von Berger's blast radius.
I'd rather live in squalor than in a golden cage as Von Bergov's rat.
You will regret those words. You don't know what squalor is.
Nothing ages faster than idealism. Somewhere in all this, I learned the toilet paper enthusiast who stole my sword was working with the bandits. Excellent. Now it was personal. Finally, we had real motivation for revenge, justice, personal hygiene concerns. To survive the situation, we had to cover our tracks.
We keep f***ing up. We are terrible at everything we do.
On the way back, Hans and I rehearsed our future crime documentary while feeling like the whole world knew what we did.
Jeez, that was loud.
Are you blind? You almost ran into me.
I did run into you, idiot.
Powered by liquid courage and perfume, we reported back to Von Berger. I stayed silent because I could. Hans handled the talking. He lied so beautifully, it almost brought a tear to my eye. The student had become the scam. Then the game hit me with the kind of pop-up I actually appreciate. Next, we were invited to an evening feast. Talking to Hans got me sass instead of wait with Hans. So I stood there in silence, like a haunted cold track, until the game decided enough time had passed. At the feast, we were briefed on the next move. Attack the bandits next morning. Catherine was nearby, and all suspicious-like, so I did what any focused individual would do, picked up a random widow as tactical emotional support plushie. By morning, my clothes had finished laundering their criminal history, so I put on my best strip and hit the charisma level of a walking lie. I had to weaponize my dashing new looks right away, because the Smith tried to fleece us with shoddy gear.
My lord isn't getting anything but perfect.
While grabbing wine, Catherine was missing, of course, so Manietta handed me the bottle instead and asked me to unlock a spice chest and started roasting the Smith's logs. Please, tell me more about how the Smith is trash.
Don't talk smack about my horse, my pebbles.
Me wearing armor in the cutscene doesn't count, so the Chamberlain was leading the charge. His plan? Run straight at the enemy. He was confidently revving his insult engine on us when the bandits ambushed us. Timing, beautiful. Doped up on potions, I ran into battle feeling unstoppable. I was very stoppable. Attacks that give you no indicator for defending are fun. Enemies sliding into me like heat-seeking magnets are fun. Going through the potion list with a controller every time is fun.
Stop cheating! Keep looking at me, idiot.
I was having such a good time, it wasn't beneath me to spit profanities in Finnish. Death number 5. Lynching didn't seem to work against armed opponents anymore, which is a shame, because that'd be my strat.
Yeah.
At some point, I stopped looting the dead, because there's only so many times I can do it before my brain starts cannibalizing itself. The automatic target lock was arbitrary, and like trying to unstuck your tongue from glue if you wanted to run away or switch targets.
This game.
Silver lining, I got to watch Ulrich die repeatedly.
I can't loot him. Can't move! I'm stuck! What's happening? What's happening? Why did my screen do that? I can't see anything. I can't see anything.
Death number 10.
What the frick happened there?
The archers on the high ground were personally invested in my downfall.
How fun.
Where the hell is he? I have to go to him.
I can't run! Look at that! Look at that!
Out of desperation, I tried the old Ulrich tactic from the first game. It hands down didn't work. Then I started to play even worse because I was fuming. Eventually, I formulated the greatest plan so far. Let Hans handle it, and just hover nearby and cheer. That's when I learned Hans can die. The quest was called For Victory, and what I got was a live demonstration of how not to achieve it. Curious? Possibly crying? Definitely coping. I rewound time and declared a training arc. Anime rules now applied. First up, Master Tomcat. He had exactly one paid lesson for me and refused to become a punching bag. Strong start. I'm going to spare you the montage this time, because this video is already too long. But if I robbed you of a Yondeso flavored awesome music-baked beatdown compilation, feel free to complain. And I'll do better next time. For my next trick, I started turning bandits into unarmed training dummies. Slept in their beds waiting for them to wake up. Rinse and repeat until they just migrated away like frightened cattle. Dogs were trickier to use as training equipment, because dog meat didn't want any competition. Everything changed once I discovered fox potions. Suddenly I wasn't just training, I was optimizing. Around 95 minutes into my training arc, the sheep joined the program. When my kneecaps grew in and I unlocked kicking, the sheepmancers were not safe either. Then I expanded my horizons. Beggars, also viable XP points.
Ooh.
Then I got distracted and ended up drinking with the hungry tavern humans in the nomad camp. Their alcohol had only 2% blindness record. I liked those odds. From there, reality politely excused itself. I conversed with a talking dog, fell off a cliff, no, and spent a while oscillating between swimming and drowning. Very Finnish experience. By the end, I was talking fluent German. Even a potion couldn't fix me. Back on my training program, people helped me improve my plan by forking over more bandit camp locations into my curriculum. By that point, farm animals were more or less extinct, so random villagers became fair game. After about 3 hours of this extremely normal training arc, I declared myself statistically competent for victory. Back at the banquet, I found out you can charm the Black Knight, but he told me to wait, so I went straight back to the video. Ketchu does not like to wait. Anyway, round 2. I inhaled the entire Undersink medley before every battle, again.
So many enemy soldiers. What the frick? It's amazing. It really is amazing. And I'm dead because somebody shot me. I was so close to the end.
I have many complaints about the combat, but I'll keep it brief. You can't kick Ulrich, unforgivable. Eventually, the game gave me an objective. Reach the mill. I went full sprint. Tunnel vision, no thoughts.
Hans dead.
If I had to hear...
Capon!
Henry!
Hans!
Help me!
Christ, I have to go to him!
One more time, I was going to pull a backwards Terminator. We made it to the mill. Hans immediately got punked. We got surrounded. I called the leader every dishonorable thing my troglodyte brain could conjure up and baited him into dueling me.
I can't. The game is not letting me attack. It's just giving me the stupid X.
Yeah, it took me a lot of tears to get this far. On the second round, I threw caution to the window and just kept smashing his face and hoping for the best. Somehow it worked. No idea why. No intention of learning. My emotionally expensive victory did not earn me the promised freedom, but a jail visitation instead. Then, at the Familia Inn as Godwin, I learned of the local legends, Hans and Henry. I followed the quest marker through the PTSD road, talked to Eric, helped him return some bandage to the Maker, earned an audience with Captain Cyclops, and helped him put down a rebellion on the condition I get my boys back from prison. Cut back to Henry. Toilet paper head was there, so I immediately threw him under the nearest cart and outed him as a spy. He got the jail too. I was not going down alone. We barked at each other, reminiscing of the good old times. Then Godwin showed up like Raiden with a new haircut. Next thing I knew, we're out of jail, and somehow working with the people who arrested us, because politics. And thanks to us leaving the mean people alive, we accidentally failed upwards. Oh, and before I got jailed, I may have poked the captain in the eye. Watching Godwin fix it was a good tummy twister. Back outside, Godwin recruited me to help bury some trash. The on-flight entertainment philosophy tried to imply I may have killed people.
I haven't killed anyone so far. Here, I'll prove it to you. 0.
Where I'm not a killer, I'm financially responsible. I pinched the ferryman money from the corpses.
I'm so lucky I have experience in this, or should I say unlucky?
At least I knew I was on the right side of history. Perspective is everything.
Hey, since you're old, I could make one for you as well if you want. No? Okay then.
After that, I went on a brief grief tour of nearby cottages, tried pistols against Godwin, acquired baby's first gun, helped load sacks onto a cart, declined violence for character development reasons, and made a friend instead. Victory. Then I played dice with Hans. I whipped out every loaded die I owned, sat down confidently, and proceeded to play so badly I almost sedated him. After recovering emotionally, I squeezed the guards into letting Clara heal the dungeon's human inventory, said hi to some friends down there, played doctor for a bit, and used Clara as emotional support furniture for the night. Bitbull arrived to garnish my nightly red-tinted replay like an ominous foreshadow. I woke up to the sound of panic rearranging furniture. Turns out my sleep paralysis demon actually showed up with friends and started a siege. When they asked for our surrender, Hans responded with a diplomatic classic.
Kiss our asses!
God, is this retribution for my sins?
The guys I healed wanted to repair their dead, so I placed them near Hans. The first phase, defending the battlements, was off to a fantastic start. We got crowded instantly, because I couldn't push down the ladders. I learned nothing and did it again. Then I picked up a pole arm and discovered a key truth. Using it as a tool to push down some ladders is not the same thing as turning someone into compost with it. That alone got me promoted smoothly to the help Hans defend the gate part.
Can you move?
Apparently, if you rock someone's dome, there's a good chance it will turn off their internal software permanently. So I reloaded reality and switched to dropping aggressive insults instead. Shockingly, their morale did not collapse during the 3 business days it took for them to break the gate in a very unimpressive fashion. The fight to deal with the uninvited was over before my first warm-up death. After that, we got overrun and retreated into the castle. Captain Cyclops still believed in parley because the tower was too difficult to take, and that's when the enemy introduced their counter-argument, a cannon, also known as the Finger of God. I get it. Plot armor kicked in, and we got shipped to Trotsky like premium livestock. One burger put Captain Brain Leakage in charge, then left to go professionally rim the king. He took Hans with him, because of course he did. What followed was another interrogation, but for a nice change of pace, we got to enjoy the other side of it. Between casually curated lies and nothing, I told them absolutely nothing. I'm not sure what the knight logo is supposed to be. I don't do tutorials, but I failed that role. My silence made the room socially uncomfortable, so they fixed that by adding a decorative scar onto my torso. Great icebreaker for later. Then, just as I was about to be turned into salsa, Godwin suddenly started confessing on my behalf like he just discovered religion. Apparently, stubbornness is a workout, because I gained vitality by the power of hard-headedness. Poo-Poo Head left us to marinate in the blues until morning. Things looked kinda bleak there for a moment, until someone started a party just outside the door.
Is Catherine coming for us? Jeez, I knew it! Now I'm glad I didn't find her.
About time, Catherine. What took you so long?
You can hang around here a bit longer if you like.
I couldn't help but to think myself the superior interrogator. I got a guy to start reading like a canary without even touching him. Professionals have standards, and mine are confusing. Anyway, after exchanging the pleasantries, Catherine revealed a secret passage out of the castle. All I needed was the key, which was, naturally, on toilet paper head. Berger had also left some documents in his chambers. Godwin was supposed to fetch them, but I accidentally handled that while burglarizing 80% of the castle. Before leaving, Catherine forced her knife on me, which was sweet, but I couldn't reverse pickpocket it back into her inventory. A rare Bethesda W. Dressed in freshly stolen confidence, I interrupted a guard's quiet drink and delivered him into the loving arms of his enemies. I'm sure someone will look after him if he wakes up, or finish the job. Either way, problem solved. After celebrating my tactical genius, I resumed vacuuming valuables. I'm getting paid for my time, one way or another. I witnessed the awkward goodbyes of Toilet Paper Head and his brother, lover, adopted son, or all of them. I don't judge. The sneaking part of the sneaking, effortless. I was freaking made for this. The stock in the scribes' quarters had also repopulated, which is great because nothing says urgent escape like stopping to browse for books. Then came the buttsicle himself. I've heard of a wolf in sheep's clothing, but I've never seen the sheep winning. None of this encounter went the way I wanted. First of all, I had to talk to him, then I had to fight him. I gave him the good old up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start combo. Cutscene me chucked him out the window. Not what I ordered.
But if he had the keys?
Thankfully, my missing emotional support knife returned to my inventory, and Toilet's death didn't matter, though I do think his demise was a bit of a waste. A good villain is like a gym membership. You keep them around so they make you stronger. That's my philosophy, anyway. Your player's task in the castle doesn't work anymore for some reason, which is unfortunate, because I had enough loot to kickstart my own indie game that I could abandon after I got the money. On the way back, I interrupted Godwin trying to idiot a door open and grabbed him with me. Meanwhile, the god I donated earlier had been returned to sender somehow. No idea how they managed that without a return address. We pushed through the secret caverns with the gang, only to find enemies actively hunting for us on the other side. Didn't help that Captain Cyclops was operating at lame arc settings and needed a ride. Guess whose job it was to sneak through and find the contact responsible for the horses? The court jester, me. I found the contact. He was about as useful as a wooden frying pan, so naturally, I had to keep going and find the actual wagon crew myself. Nothing too difficult. I just gently persuaded anyone in my path to take a nap, then redistributed their weapons into the locals' robbery.
They had way more soldiers than I thought.
Not long later, I found the wagoners. We picked up the gang, and Miss Winter is Coming started freezing next to me. Now I could have helped her. I did have enough clothes on me to outfit a tailor shop, but you reap the bed you make. On the way, I fell asleep on the horse, had another red-tinted "something is deeply wrong" flashback again, and woke up on the ground like a discarded sack of turnips. After a long journey, we finally reached the rest stop.
Henry's locked in.
What a view!
I know, Henry, I know.
Hunger, hygiene, social, and energy meters were replenished. Next morning, a servant mistook me for a noble. I did not correct her, and for the first time, I wasn't allowed to put my weapon away in a duel. Look, I think something exciting is happening. Blah blah, politics blah. Blah blah blah, PP measuring blah. Blah blah blah, blah. Oops, my mistake. I was carrying enough loot to bankrupt the village, but there was nowhere to sell it. Captain Cyclops kept talking to himself like a possessed kettle while I looked for a merchant. Nothing. Not a single soul interested in my completely legitimate collection of stolen goods. Further down the future, we stopped at Devil's Den for information. Right on cinematic cue, Cyclops' friend came barreling through the door.
You might have noticed, there's more of us than you.
That can be fixed.
Steve Buscemi's medieval cousin here evened the odds. Thank Doug, because I seem to have completely forgotten how to fight. Our goal was to recruit the Dry Devil into our merry disaster. He was in prison for reasons filed under not my problem, and conveniently, he was about to be transported somewhere else. So me and the old pug guys headed to their old camp. He went off to water the nearest bush, while I aged like a cheese in a cellar. The countless lifetime spent in the forest looking for a squirrel stash of guns was tremendous. Eventually, we set up an ambush on the prison caravan by the power of hired goons and a roadblock. Then everyone collectively rolled numbers so low, the dice owes me an apology or two. The only thing that got hit was Dee Dee's ass. but I quickly rebranded it as a warning shot when I blessed them with a sermon so powerful, half of them repented into leaving. Thank heavens for speech. I don't think I could have survived this otherwise. Back at the Devil's Den, I had two options. Talk to Catherine about Liechtenstein in Gutenberg, or gather the remaining members of our increasingly theoretical army. Naturally, I chose Catherine first. I really wanted to see Gutenberg, but I did ask about the others, just in case I accidentally trip over them on the way. Without warning, I decided this was now a sightseeing tour. New region, new animals. Hearing the cows moo the first thing when arriving at new places was beautiful. I don't know what it is, but dueling with the locals put the fear of God back into me. A simple beggar kept slapping my crap. Gutenberg itself looked incredible. Big city energy. Streets wide enough to get lost in, and people rich enough to find my lifestyle. I love that some NPCs just dump history on you, and listening actually makes you smarter. Imagine that working in real life. The traders there actually had some pocket change for a change. Despite that, I emptied several of them by trading, and walked away with 9k monies. I eventually made my way to the tavern where Catherine was working, took one look at her, and went to sleep instead just to manufacture emotional confusion. Woke up, got my next objective, ignored it with confidence, robbed the nearby town hall's books instead, and enjoyed myself perusing them. Best time I've had in a while. Next morning, after solving a conflict by quoting the Bible, I filled the hole-in-the-wall tavern with questions about a man called Goatskin. Turns out, he was a professional night gremlin that only crawled out after dark for his grimy rounds. So, with time to kill, I went sightseeing some more. This somehow landed me into a random cellar.
Oof. It's pretty musty in here. This is no regular cellar.
He was right, because I found a quest item. No idea what it does, no idea why it exists, but it was mine. The rest of the tour included a bomb fight, St. Barbara's Cathedral telling me no, a church also telling me no, and an empty Minecraft. Back on the code track, the Q&A breadcrumbs led me to a bathhouse that Goatskin frequented. They didn't like him there, because he stole from the other customers. Bold strategy. I also met his girlfriend. Let me tell you, gathering information in a bathhouse is exhausting work. Eventually, the jelly beans led me to a barn where Goatskin was hiding. What followed was some truly heroic parkour, and then me sitting in the dark like a gargoyle, waiting for him to come home. When he did, I hit him with my finest mouth magic. Promises of safety, friends, a better tomorrow, the usual scam package. In return, I got the next lead, Samuel, for my next trick. I spent an unreasonable amount of time trying to steal his book, and I'm as stubborn as an autistic ox. After that, I hit the two quarters, liberated their inventories, and talked to Samuel about meeting Liechtenstein. Between missions, I kept reporting back to Catherine, not because I needed to, but because it's what I do. I felt better that my senpai was aware of the situation. She even forked over advice and warned me of the potential trap I walked into. Despite threatening to turn me into mean peasant, they were kind enough to fight me with their fists instead, like true knights, but with shoddy decision making. It took me around 6 minutes to beat them, but beat them I did. After that, I had a heart-to-heart with Samuel. He gave me his word, so I decided to trust him and let him smuggle me like contraband potatoes, and I finally met Liechtenstein. From him, I learned Hans is probably being held in Maleshaw Fortress. The place had recently changed ownership from the Ruthards to Berger, courtesy of Sigismund's ongoing campaign of making everything worse. The first part of my rescue operation began with bothering the Ruthards about it.
Would you stop that? Are you 5 years old?
But only after I accidentally lost 2 hours helping Catherine to track down a murderer. Didn't see that coming when I went for an in-between mission pep talk. The culprit was targeting young women, which escalated things immediately. Thankfully, the investigation itself wasn't too bad. I can charm secrets out of anything. Logs, teeth, or the occasional NDA. It was a tangled ball of nonsense though. The hardest part was knocking the murderer unconscious without accidentally becoming his next case study. Once that was done, the bruise parcel was handed over to the law. The best part was watching Catherine delete the fuddy-duddy masterminding the murders. And I really like this guy. Makes me laugh too. After that, I finally went to see the Ruthards. They were in trouble, of course, but I believe I experienced what they'd call love at first sight. Without a shadow of a doubt, a fight broke out. Me just breathing nearby classified me as an enemy. My aura has that effect. People refused unconsciousness so hard that I turned on the furry coup de grace machine and let it do what it does best. Ruin family trees. Mid-chaos, I learned I had accidentally killed an animal in combat at some point. No idea when, no idea how. But I think we can all agree that animals just don't matter. Instead of being nice and convenient and helpful, the Ruthards rewarded me with more work instead, which meant digging up enough dirt to cut off a persistent rash of their lives. Vavak. Of course it wouldn't be simple. It's never simple. I must be living in the century simplicity died.
Respect the dead.
That's a good one.
I agree.
After the fight, I sold everything that wasn't spiritually bonded to its owner and broke the 10k barrier. Now, did I go do the main quest right away? Absolutely. For about how long it took me to hit the next commotion on the road. That distraction somehow landed me in a mine with that gas station sushi smell. Why? Because if I feed, I penetrate. Inside, I found a knight who had clearly lost the duel with reality. Very spooky. Helping him out wasn't an option, but luckily he crowed out right after me anyway, and somehow materialized more loot just for me. Unfortunately, there was no saving him. I decided to stream the challenge from here on out. Bit arbitrary, but those with an eye for fashion can seek the VOD for more insights into how I handle situations and the lore. I'll still summarize the lore to the best of my memory. Before doing what I was supposed to do, I did what I was born to do. Invaded every chest I got my fingers on, right up until I got caught. Then I met with Christian about finding missing silver to incriminate Vavak. Now, logically, we could have talked in his office. Private, quiet, safe. Instead we stepped outside, around the corner, into the open, like two suspicious pigeons. My job was to ask the foreman how much silver they mined on a specific day, while posing as a scholar. The guys in the midnight zone looked like they'd been forged in the mine itself. I had to break into a prayer in the middle of it, like a peasant who just saw a comet. And then again, when I got outside, just to be safe. That night, pickpocketing betrayed me like never before. Maybe this guy is a tier 5 paranoid or something, but I lost all faith in the system. My coping mechanism fired up, and more containers went hungry. Healthy behavior. For the next part, I went around confronting suspects, trading confessions for immunity. Also, somewhere along the way, Christian lost his fancy clothes. I had them. The trail of missing silver pointed straight to the ore processing plant.
Bye-bye, good sir.
Before that, I stopped in Gutenberg to empty my pockets and learned that I had lost access to my tavern bed. The maids kept interrupting my sleep like overzealous church bells. Also, the game crashed the moment Catherine's rear entered my field of view. Which, yeah, fair enough. Back on the trail, I ran around the smelteries asking questions until 3 walking slabs of meat came looking for trouble. Unleashing the snake tongue unlocked 1v1. I settled the discussion with my fists. After a quick ceremonial hand wash, I got the location of a secret coin press. Then I let him go. Because I'm merciful, and also done with him. There were only 2 guards stationed at the site of happenings. Almost insulting. At this point, I've developed a personal creed. Only steal the really valuable armor pieces to conserve space-time continuum. And always steal the weapons. So if they wake up, we can settle it like peasants at a harvest festival. Down in the abyssal zone, the Mintmancer secretary, or whatever, was waiting. Some Batman sent a word of my questionnaire tour. I had already predicted this. Didn't mean I was prepared. If you went from the front, you got hijacked into dialogue. No chance of sneaking. Approaching from the back triggered instant violence, so I did the only logical thing, ignored both. I went snooping around for alternative options and found a back room with 2 locked up coin pressers. They didn't want to leave because psychological trauma or whatever, but they happily handed me the location for the evidence I was looking for. Team players. Following that, the welcoming party realized I went around and angrily escorted me out. They kept spiritually chasing me well into the morning hours. Since the corruption got uncovered, Christian's brilliant solution was to take over the operation himself. New management, same crime. I agreed to stay quiet, got paid, and threw him under the bus the first chance I got. When driving back to the Ruthards, my horse kept making weird noises. Naturally, I checked under the hood. Everything looked fine, so I chose to ignore it. Back at the Ruthards, Vavak showed up again, ready to donate more of his men to the afterlife. We hit him with the silver evidence angle, which should have been simple. Instead, me and potential father-in-law almost fumbled like a monk in a bathhouse.
I know about your account ledgers and the ones from Buresh. The real ones, that prove how you carried out this fraud.
You've made up those books. Or do you actually have them on you?
Do not reveal that we have them.
Of course not. Do you think we're completely stupid?
Thank you, Rosa.
We've got copies here. The original books are safely stashed away out of your reach.
Exactly.
Thank God for Rosa. She was the warhorse carrying this exchange. After strong-arming the Mint-Mancer into becoming our inside man, I boasted to the old man how good I am at Tenju, and Rosa then gave me the location of a secret passage into the fortress, back outside. I'm not sure which one of us was more excited to see each other, me or Darkmeat, but the whole world was shaking like a tavern after tax returns. Back on the road, I stumbled onto the aftermath of a fight. As a bonus, a villager came gawking at the scene. It's not much, but it's an honest few groschen I made that time. First part of the Save Hans episode didn't keep count plan. Secure horses for the escape. That's when I learned something groundbreaking.
I could wash my horse? Look at Pebbles! No wonder everybody was talking how ugly my horse is. Yeah, my Pebbles. Don't let anybody talk smack of you.
After that, I followed the clues Rosa laid in my brain, until I found a suspicious patch of ground, and I beat it into submission with a shovel for that secret path. Inside the fort, Henry the unburdened brain immediately got into trouble with a furry alarm system. It kept barking, even though I had a perk for that not happening. Then a messenger showed up. One burger and Mr. Pitbull had to leave for an old man mole inspection session. Eric learned that toilet paper head died and killed the dog about it, which was technically good for me, but he still made an enemy for life out of me. Just like last time, when we were messing with burger stuff, there was a limited garrison present, which made sneaking around easier for me. So I did what I do best, choked out everyone in my way while learning the layout. A cook caught me, but I pretended to be Burger's guest, and bribed all necessary information out of her, and also bought her silence along with a refund. I stacked all the unconscious guards in the cellar, like poorly organized firewood, setting them up for the most confusing group wake-up of their lives. This operation was held together by shameless save-scumming. I met Lady Orfka at some point. No idea who she was, but she existed. We'll leave it at that. Eventually, I reached the top of the tower and found my princess, Hans. He was thrilled to see me. There was also a French guy. We kept him. Hans shut down my escape tunnel exit plan. He is spiritually allergic to tight spaces now. Incredible timing. Whatever. If my bro wants to go out through the front, I'll just put the rest of the garrison to sleep about it. And that's what I did. On the road to freedom, our dads finally showed up to pick us up. After some back and forth, we decided the next logical step was to infiltrate the political assembly, with the king present. Wonderful news, because it was all up to me to sneak in. Back in Gutenberg, I took a break to read all the books I had stolen from Berger. Among them was Rosa's unfinished work, so, naturally, I helped her finish it, and even posed as a model for the illustration. It turned out alright. Seized by a sudden burst of morality, I decided to free the imprisoned coin pressers. Unfortunately, I had absolutely no idea where the secret press was, so I wandered around like a headless pilgrim until the game gently nudged me about the city council. Sensing the urgency that wasn't actually there, I pivoted to deal with that instead. To get in, I strong-armed the Mint-Mancer into helping me, and entered the meeting as a waiter. Now I know I was supposed to be a spy, but I was so stressed and anxious that my ears just filtered all the noise. Instead, every time a noble snapped their fingers, I sprinted over with wine like an overtrained hound and fulfilled their cups and other stupid side quests. When King Sigismund finally entered, Henry gave me second-hand anxiety of unforeseen levels. His composure was as smooth as a cobblestone. After listening to all the lore, I'm under the impression that he is the better king. I judge people based on how they treat the least powerful in the room. Sigismund was an absolute chat about it, and very upset with the incompetent lords. Meanwhile, Godwin was wrestling politics, and Hans is getting traded off in marriage for support. We cut back to the city council. Sigismund, angry, politics. I was too busy trying to pronounce betrothed to listen. One of the lords started a drunken rant. I wasn't supposed to serve him any alcohol, but accidentally gave him 1 cup of wine. 1 cup. Bro had it coming. The council was dismissed, and I was ordered to stay behind to serve the king. When anxiety kicked back in, so did I. What I mean is, I kicked the king, which, historically speaking, is frowned upon. Hugging Mr. Worldwide was also illegal. Eventually, I made it through, still barely processing what anyone was saying, because stress turns my brain into porridge. At the end, the king asked me to toast with him, so that one day, I can tell my children and grandchildren I shared a drink with a king. Honestly, hard guy to hate. Meanwhile, on Godwin's side, party is over because one Burger's army just walks in, since someone opened the gates without checking who it was. Brilliant. Godwin fights like a priest trying to swat a fly, so I died 3 times trying to babysit his brother, who also couldn't fight to save his life.
He can't fight one dude.
Eventually, I survived long enough to usher a new era in the quest stage. Mid-disaster, Henry shows up. If only it was someone competent. I immediately broke a shield by punching it. I retract my previous insult. I got the main character, player 1 energy, from how obsessed the enemies were with me. So I spent most of the fight complaining while trying to hit whoever was already busy. After the dust settled and my dignity was buried with the casualties, Henry distributed the information. I had no clue what's going on. Apparently, the Jewish quarter is under attack, and more importantly, Samuel is my brother. Huh, that's neat. So we set out to do what Moses did, free the Jews. Outside, we run into the Booze Devil, who joins instantly. No questions asked, and we carpool to Gutenberg in his definitely not stolen wagon. We took the scenic sewer route, which turned into the longest pub walk of all time. The plan was simple: 3 parts rescue people, 2 parts rescue documents, and a theoretical part of keeping your humors inside your body. The base was already overrun by human miscellaneous junk. They dropped like a piano in a cartoon the moment I turned their brains off. I even got an achievement for a stealth kill I didn't do. My performance review remains squeaky clean. Outside, we reunited with Samuel. Friends dead, quick condolences. Moving on. We started pulling survivors out, took a wholesome scrapbook moment with my new brother, and then I went to fetch his mom, which also makes her my mom. I introduced myself as a friend. No time to unpack more than that. Conversation dragged anyway, so Samuel popped by to casually urge us to hurry the frick up. The plan was to escape through the back. Archers on the rampart said no.
Alright, up! You're gonna get a beating for that.
I immediately got lost looking for stairs, and had a hard time wondering how to deal with the bow-wielding idiots without being one. After some mid-battle looting to calm the nerves, I found a way up by doing the unthinkable, going left instead of right. Unconscious land claimed the archers, but the quest demanded a proper blood sacrifice, so I pushed one off, then accidentally deleted the other while trying to kick him. No! That completed the quest, but put only 1 notch on my record, so I handled them again. Frick! Then tagged in Gravity for the paperwork.
Took his money first. I don't want him paying the ferryman.
Record clean. With Mom cheering in the back, I fought my way into reuniting with Samuel again. We stepped outside to Booze Devil absolutely cooking people. I'm starting to like the guy. Then Puppy Slayer showed up. I got hyped, stepped in, confident, and got immediately destroyed. What followed was 34 minutes of me getting dismantled physically and mentally. What I lacked in a positive attitude, I made up for with tenacity. Thoughts of inadequacy bounced between my ears. Like, why didn't I prepare potions? And...
wait! Could I have learned combos all this time from somewhere?
My breakthrough strategy was roaching behind the corner until the kitchen light switched off and it was finally safe to scurry into the tunnels, outside the walls. I grilled Mom about Dad, then redirected that emotional energy into booting nearby sheep off the roadside.
You're not getting away from me. You clever butt. Don't worry, they are just unconscious. I'm sorry, sheeplets. But this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I'm glad nobody over there cares what I'm doing with the sheep. Okay, out of context, that sounds kinda bad. Then again, in context, it's also kinda bad.
Back in free roam, I visited the gallows to loot the serial killer from Catherine's quest, partly for closure, mostly to ransack his pocket.
Jeez!
On my quest of uncertain priorities, I stumbled across a group of squabbling idiots and intimidated them with my teddy bear aura into becoming volunteer punching bags.
I stopped fighting.
Meet Crazy Victor. He told me to leave the moment I stepped onto his porch. I react poorly to the word no, so I unlocked everything in his house, then went outside to kick fuzzy stress balls around the countryside until my heart rate stabilized. Later that night, 2 bandits chased me across half the province and demonstrated the many creative flaws in my combat abilities. Fortunately, a guard swooped in to help settle the disagreement.
What are you doing, lurking around without a light?
I'm sorry, I was just trying to survive here.
After that, I took a break from getting distracted and went to track down the missing devils. To free Janus, I had to moonlight as both a doctor and a death buyer. Matthew was easy to find thanks to the Explorer perk. I headed straight to his camp, where nobody seemed interested in conversation. So I turned off everyone's consciousness, confiscated their weapons, and converted the camp into an unofficial martial arts academy. Eventually, I got bored and left, only to run into the same idiots on the road. They charged me again. I tried to mess around and take a funny picture, but accidentally snapped a neck instead.
No!
Turns out kicking unconscious people is harder than it looks.
It happened again. I tried to kick him. Like I do this and kick, but it's the same button as the slaughter button. Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I choked everyone out again, but this time Matthew never saw me, and I resisted the urge to use his friends as training equipment. When we met again, they actually agreed to talk. Matthew didn't want to return, so instead, I talked my way out of getting robbed and upgraded him to a skill trainer. Next was Adder, who had helped a woman commit adultery and was about to be gently surrendered to gravity for it. He made a not very good makeshift punching bag.
I can't kick him. I managed to kick him.
Rahiek attempted to escape his deaths by swimming through what looked like a flooded landfill designed by Satan.
Oh, you wanna go swim in there? Dang it, dog meat. Oh, he's making a mess. I am not washing you later.
What have I done to deserve this? This is disgusting. Yeah. Oh, good. That must be him. Oh, finally.
I dug him up and buried him properly afterward, entirely out of compassion. Certainly not because he had an expensive bow. Last on my list, Boruto, also refused to come back. He had turned on a new leaf and wanted to become a priest. He didn't appreciate my novital smug face correcting his Latin.
Amen. I know it too.
On the road to the Devil's Den, I met a man with an arrow lodged in his head, still alive, driving even. He insisted it was a blessing from God and credited it with his good fortune. I decided not to argue with the evidence and helped him carry some sacks. He paid me in booze money. It felt a bit weird to be in a bandit camp where everyone was all conscious and walking around like fictional members of society. Back on the road again. Some beggar insulted my horse. I did not take that sitting down. At the den, I took a moment to admire my growing collection of books, and then grilled everyone for scholarship and good boy points. I was rewarded with Hans's warm, firm, and slightly stringent gratitude. He gave me a bow. After that, we celebrated properly. Booze, singing, a general appreciation of my undeniable excellence, as it should be. I paid myself a painful return ticket to Trusky region, ready to finally master unarmed combat. I went crawling back to Tomcat for the 15th time and asked about short tricks. Turns out, the unarmed technique was hiding behind that deceit the whole time. At last, I knew who to look for, and that's when I gave up. There was almost always a quest in the way, and I don't have enough disk space to deal with those. On the good news, when I switched regions, the cows restocked. Balance was restored. Afterwards, I took a short break to restock potions of Henry quality craftsmanship. Everything I might need, and several things I definitely did not. On my way to get briefed on yet another one of Cyclops' devil's stupid plans, I ran into a woman being harassed by wolves. We handled it. Dog meat got dinner. She converted gratitude into booze money. Next objective, infiltrate Sigismund's camp. I even asked, why me again? Apparently it's because I'm the only one competent. The only hard part about getting into the camp was the villager whose pockets I couldn't reach. Getting in is ridiculously easy. Money isn't everything, kids. It's just the answer to an uncomfortable number of questions. Catherine had also infiltrated the camp. I needed to wait until evening to get the information out of her, and no amount of bothering changed that. Instead, she got pissed off and told me to take a walk or something. So I did. I took a bath instead, then wandered around stealing things from Morale. When she was finally ready to talk, I had to take another bath. Espionage is exhausting. After that, things escalated quickly. I talked to a guy, then to another, made a friend, choked out some bandits recreationally, said hi to Crazy Victor again, stole documents from deserters, got hired. Then I had to play dice with my new commander, and I wanted to intentionally lose to keep him emotionally stable. Problem is, he was so bad I almost got my third ever win by accident. Our bonding session got interrupted because some bozo got stabbed. Murder mystery. My time to shine. As if anyone else was going to solve it. I questioned suspects, searched for clues, and of course, checked a few pockets and personal chests for evidence and things that weren't. After that, I defended my new friend in the trial, then used the actual culprit to test my newly acquired combat techniques. Justice served. With the Phoenix Wright cosplay wrapped up, we were finally ready to transport the Finger of God cannon, which technically was the entire point of this operation. Before heading out, I told Catherine to send word ahead, got promoted to corporal, and of course, didn't get to keep that title for long, because the cannon parade got ambushed by my useless friends. Useless because, my god, they were turned into decorative casualties in a matter of seconds. That left me alone against a small army, with no weapon, no armor, and a strong academic background in talking. I wasted well over 30 minutes running the gauntlet of repeated deaths, tears, and ceaseless whining, enduring many setbacks that chipped away at my inner self, until it finally clicked. One of the French mercenaries was coated in essential oils and simply refused to die, so I adapted and ran away. The enemies didn't chase, so I just watched Monsieur Immortal get shaken and stirred. Teamwork. Occasionally, I pretended to help by punching horses, for tactical reasons, and absolutely not because I was experiencing unresolved feelings. Eventually, I got bored, and began peeling enemies off one by one, until the battlefield agreed to call it a day. In the end, I spared Commander Katz, because I don't kill, and also because I decided he was my new father figure. He just doesn't know it yet. After that little cannon disaster turned success, it was time to dance with the devil. The plan? Burn down a village as a distraction. Henry didn't like it, I didn't do it. So morally, I'm basically innocent. I even helped one villager escape into the forest, which legally makes me a good person. The plan worked. The Maleshaw garrison rushed out to fight the fires, while I was in the middle of ransacking the houses. My friends fought with surprising competence, so there was very little left for me to ruin. With the remaining garrison's attention glued to the fire, we grabbed a ladder, scaled the walls, and I speed talked the first gate open. Our troops poured in and we took control of the first yard.
Did they use the cannon? I missed it because I was looting.
Then my friends begged me for covering from fire or something, so I sat in the stables doing just that. Something must have happened, because we got a cutscene, the cannon hit the gate, and Hans's flappers gassed. With the breach secured, we stormed the inner courtyard. I did not participate in any fair fights. Once the dust was over, I convinced Berger to join us, and Rosa was there for some reason. Samuel tried airing out some frustrations by giving Berger a new ventilation hole, but Mustache Devil managed to help him rethink anger management classes. Before leaving, I vacuumed the entire area of anything valuable. The path to the higher levels was still blocked by a pile of furniture.
How did they get down?
After getting a sick photo and stuffing a heroic amount of stuff into my trousers, I went to liquidate. My treasury bulked up to 34,000 monies. We relocated to the rest stop, since Devil's Den was probably compromised. That night, Toilet Paper Head showed up in my dreams to taunt me about the village I didn't burn. Even in death, he's still annoying. Since I was already up, I cleared the entire place of books for some light bedtime reading. Next morning, we had an interview with one Berger. Turns out, he was a good idea machine now that he's not the enemy. The plan was to heist the Italian court for Sigismund Silva. Because he was already running on minted fumes, his miners were rebelling, and we were ready to make it all worse. My job was simple: sneak through the tunnels to the Ruthard estate, then get the master key from Vavak. I got excited about finally using the underground map I bought. Didn't need it, because Rosa offered to go with me. I knew firsthand how competent she was, so I agreed immediately. Me carrying Rosa like a sack of turnips was the highlight of the trip. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang went off to negotiate with a papal legate or some such nonsense. They will probably fail. Their track record is abysmal. When we arrived, the estate had been taken over by beggars and other assorted problems. Rosa suggested she climb the vines to her room and support me with a crossbow, while I get sliced into ribbons by the ground situation. She asked me to turn around while she climbed so I couldn't look up her skirt. I thought I outplayed her with the camera mode, but she outplayed reality itself to prevent that from happening. Teleportation. The beggars systematically dismantled me in no time at all. Round 2, I used the stairs to funnel them one by one. The combat was functional. In the same way a broken cart still rolls downhill. As was on bar by now, I complained the entire time. For their next trick, they tried breaking into Rosa's room. She barricaded herself inside, while I fought my way upstairs like a civilized man. Since our base of operations inside the city wasn't exactly safe, I decided to stay the night instead of going for Vavak, and kept watch while Rosa rested in her room.
I'll marry you then.
What?
Smooth. Next morning, I headed to the Mint Mancer's place for the master key. I sweet-talked Dumb and Dumber into letting me in. Christian, the mine guy, was ransacking the place. He wasn't happy at all that I outed his scheme the first chance I got. My strategy of using the stairs to my advantage again worked so well that I found better odds fighting in a closet. After slapping and looting out their crap, guess where I found the key? That was disgusting, but not as weird as what happened next. Future Ketchu, insert an ad here.
You got it. What? I
exploded some chicken by walking over them. No further questions. When I checked my stats, I noticed something horrifying. I had a kill from somewhere. Unacceptable. So I went full time traveler, reloading saves like I was undoing a bad haircut, until I found the culprit. The trial suspect I practiced combos on. Apparently that counted? How? No idea. The game just decided I meant it. So, time to replay. This time, I made a few changes to sate my curiosity. First, I helped Catherine deal with a stalker.
Ah! Help! That man wants to hurt me! Help! Save me! Huh? Bathhouse woman? afraid. You go away. Du Schwein. Nicht amor.
Move on. Viel du Lem. Nicht amor.
See how easily we came to an agreement?
That went well.
After the trial, I kept my hands to myself staffistically, flawlessly. I also tried refusing the whole burn the village idea. This led to me arguing with Dry Devil until I got my way, which, in turn, made the sneak-in mission and the castle takeover way harder. So, progress? On the bright side, Catherine and Rosa didn't yell at me this time about the whole village bonfire situation. The red-tinted dream changed too. This time, the idiot taunted me for sacrificing soldiers and friends instead of villagers. Fair, I guess. Actually made me think for a second, which I tried to avoid. Mustache Devil also put me aside to complain about me sacrificing half our men for peasants. Everyone's a critic. Trust in the system was officially gone. I went full paranoid accountant on the stats after every fight. And that's about it for the major replay differences. Oh, and I tried stealing the key right under Christian's nose. The game said no, which is rude, because that would have been very funny. Following Rosa's lead, I went spelunking with Sam for progress, bonding like brothers while searching for a wall to break into the Italian court, and beating some cryptic raiders.
People killed 0. I need to check every time, because that one time, I'm looking for a wall that looks like it's different. Knock on the wall.
Oi, that sounds different. We have it.
We painted... Oh, okay, never mind. That was really smooth.
I tried to bring one of them home with me, but the universe said no. After exhausting everyone for friendship points, I overslept and missed the mission window. So, the entire operation got delayed because I needed a nap. Professional. On my way to kill time shopping, I made a man practically floating with happiness, because his son had just been born. Meanwhile, the guards kindly waited for me to finish my congratulations before trying to arrest me for stealing from the rest stop master. Probably the books. How they caught me? No idea, but Henry of Gaslit pays no fines.
8.1. I almost have 40k, can I afford this?
With money and clothes laundered, I returned to base and immediately annoyed Devil by asking to start the mission at the wrong time. Again, at first light, we went to interrupt the religious man's breakfast. We needed to recruit his help inside the court. Godwin, the only one who could speak pasta to him, fumbled his skill check so badly, things escalated into a chase scene. Bebos, my wagon disguised as a horse, suddenly unlocked hidden potential mid-gallop like she had Saiyan blood, and somehow kept up with the escapees. The Italian speed demon started ranting incoherently, a lot, so Adder headbutted him about it. He dropped like a ladder in a slapstick accident. Conversation over, permanently. Mustache Devil was not happy. New plan, Godwin would take his place. What could go wrong? Back at base, I was nosing around and found Catherine's love potion. I poured it all over my salami and found out. After that, I walked in on the ladies waiting for a tumbleweed to kick off their conversation. Next, the boys and I were preparing to cosplay as Godwin's groupies. We got Italian lessons from Brabant, and Rosa prepared an outfit for me.
I'm here for the clothes, in case you couldn't tell.
I met Catherine next room and asked her about her past. She avoided the question with the grace of a professional dodgeball champion and bounced the question back at me.
Go ahead. I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, I'm naked.
I killed the mood on contact with the Scalit story. After that, I had Brabant teach me how to compliment someone in Italian. Shockingly, Rosa got the obscure reference and appreciated it.
Can I do you next?
La tua bellezza,
Bellezza, yes.
You know what? I've had it with you lot's gibberish.
Yeah, Catherine wasn't impressed. Hans, however, was thriving.
You mean in these clothes? Well, thank you.
Finally, an audience that appreciates my work.
Okay, Sam, who's next?
For the next part, I had to have Henry clad in armor. No way around it, didn't matter. I was Godwin now. Pretending to be a cardinal was painful. Every conversation chipped away at my disguise, until I learned Godwin performs better after a few drinks. Truly, a man of the cloth. Oh, and our old friend Musa was there. Then came the climax. I was tasked to resolve a decades-old church dispute. 2 sides, a lot of words. My brain was on screensaver mode. With no context and 0 understanding of the gravity of the situation, I did the obvious thing, rolled the dice and called it divine intervention. Back to Henry. My job was to clear the courtyard. It only took me figuring out all the possible ways to fail the mission to complete it. I had a self-imposed side quest of dressing Brabant by tossing unconscious corpses behind him, because his anxiety fueled me. Adder was well late to the well meeting. Turns out he was busy playing Bury the Salami with the cook lady. I had to skip the cutscene because streaming, but 2 very angry men showed up afterwards. I had a chance to calm things down in Italian. The fact that Brabant taught me these phrases, and that I've studied a little bit of Italian myself, gave me no advantage. And we ended up beating up both men because of my failure for reasons that escaped me. Thankfully, Adder had already done his job and secured the tools. We used them to break the cellar wall and let the rest of the gang in. Godwin was thrilled to retire on the spot as we stormed the meeting and took everyone hostage. Next, I whispered sweet nothings to Hungary's strongest man in exchange for the captured lords. And I did it because I was contractually obligated by the power of a promise to Rosa. The rest of the team wasn't all that interested in meeting terms and conditions. Brand integrity doesn't uphold itself. Godwin's father blamed my drunk uncle here for his other son's death. I nosed in and convinced his shitty pa to see the reason. Nobody slanders my main man on my watch. Then Rosa informed me of some books with limited availability. Sam said the same thing and mentioned other valuables too. Say no more. I picked up all the scraps of paper I could, grabbed some spectacular glasses, and stopped by the gift shop for free souvenirs. Catherine was guarding the hostages. Naturally, I approached with my finest conversational skills.
You look so pretty. Sitting there on that bench.
You can see my cleavage better, eh? Nice view from above.
Can't deny. It really is a delightful sight.
Just watch your eyes don't fall out of your head, youngster. You man. In the middle of a robbery and still you only think of the one thing.
Yeah, the fall of Rome.
She was a good sport about it. Then Feces hit the wheel. Right after Mustache Devil jinxed the death flag.
What could go wrong?
Puppy Slayer Ultra showed up out of nowhere, which immediately smelled like betrayal. I used the polearm responsibly by pushing down ladders, then chucked down the usual potion cocktail, mentally prepared for a huge fight. Turns out it was a waste, because cutscene cut the fight short. In the chaos, Musa slipped out, the unmentionables tailed him. Devils clash with Puppy Slayers, steel, shouting, general chaos. Eric somehow beat cutscene me, and was about to delete another useful dog when Musa stepped in and saved me. Upgraded from friend to a brother. We bolted for the tunnels, and Didi sealed the exit behind us with a powder keg. Everybody lost their hearing temporarily after that bang, which honestly might have improved communication a bit. The next night, I went into the forest to fight the noise keeping me up. Turns out it wasn't cicadas, it was the ringing. Anyway, back in the tunnels, Musa joined us, and Hans overcame his tunnel phobia, which I'm sure he'll never bring up again. Back on ground level, my suspicions were validated by a twist of such magnitude it registered on every seismometer in the region. Early warning systems had been going off for hours. The French guy betrayed us for the silver. My job was to deal with the archers on the high ground. Luckily, I'd burglarized this place enough to know a back route.
Here's Henry! You fight like an old hag!
That's the last thing I could yell before going down.
The winning strategy was to buy enough time for the others to actually pull their weight. Despite having 2 doctors nearby, Adder chose to stay behind and bleed out anyway. Whatever man, your body, your choice. I'm way past the age where I feel like arguing. Uh-oh! The Puppy Slayers chased after us. Bugeyes Devil's horse got hit by an arrow. Not to be outdone, Musa caught one too, though he only looked mildly inconvenienced by it. After finally getting some sleep, post-Cicada War, Mustache Devil woke me up with some good news. Sigismund is retreating to Hungary. Thanks to us pulling the rug from under him, the lack of silver created some dysentery among the ranks. Also, someone torched his court back home, so things were going great for him. Mustache Devil also mentioned that Rosa was looking for me. Naturally, I delayed that as long as possible by talking to everyone else, doing multiple toasts, and eavesdropping on conversations that had absolutely nothing to do with me. When I finally showed up, I was completely blasted. Rosa was still happy I came to see her off. Her affection is wasted on me.
Time to get boozing.
Way ahead of you.
After that, Pacifist devil returned. Turns out the enemy captured him, but Puppy Slayer let him go, just so he could deliver me a duel invitation. I asked everyone for advice. Most of my friends told me not to go, which was oddly touching. I obviously went anyway. Off the record, I did a lot of replaying just to unlock the shoulder throw combo prior to this fight. According to the internet, it disarms opponents, and technically, it did. Just not Puppy Slayer, which means I wasted a whole bunch of time replaying just to not be able to disarm this idiot. Cool, neat, swell. What followed was an incredible duel, mostly because I kept trying to make the combo work instead of simply winning like a normal person. Not to mention, a tooltip tutorial or whatever claimed that it doesn't matter if the attack deals damage, as long as it connects, the combo will trigger. That was a lie. Misinformation spread by Big Combo. It only worked when it felt like working, and when it finally did, it absolutely did not perform as advertised on the box it came in. The fight itself was pretty easy, actually, once I stopped trying to look clever. No! Then our duel got interrupted. Puppy Slayer had set up a trap after all, and Mr. Beatbull's army was closing in, so I ran back to warn the others.
Mr. Worldwide.
He showed up demanding our silver, since Sigismund couldn't afford to pay them anymore. Then somehow, one burger showed up too, and honestly, it was kind of impressive. The man escaped using a lockpick, a bedsheet rope, and a swim across the moat. Pretty athletic for a middle-aged gravy seal. While the gang argued about whether to negotiate or fight, Dry Devil voted for violence. Unanimously.
Chiska.
This is exactly how useful my companions are during combat. Also, you devil. The first hurdle was to stop the gate from getting chopped into tinder. Naturally, I tried ignoring it, because that strategy had worked shockingly well up to this point. Before I could move on to failing the second objective, pushing down ladders, the game gently informed me that protecting the gate was not optional. I couldn't think of a workaround on the spot, so I had no choice but to actually do the objective. Which is a shame, because several men tragically and accidentally died when I reinforced the gate with massive rocks to the skull. So, no, you cannot beat Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 without killing anyone. At least not fully, but honestly, that's fine. As much as this is a challenge run, it's also an investigation into what the game actually allows. And 2 out of 3 restrictions still stood. No weapons, no armor. The Pacifist badge just got slightly stepped on. There were some alternative strategies, like kicking down the rocks and blaming it on gravity, like that time with the archers. I also tried to bounce them off the floor first, didn't matter. But what truly broke my spiritual spine was that I wasn't allowed to yell motivated profanities at the enemies like before. To survive the next part, guarding the battlements, the stars had to align. My teammates had to discover competence through divine revelation, and the ladders had to go down fast enough before I got swarmed by too many angry battle cans. Also, I finally got the shoulder throw combo working. The enemies got disarmed alright. Problem was, after that, their bodies turned spiritually immune to my punches, like I was fist-fighting ghosts. Very cool. What happened next shocked even me. I got promoted to commander. My old friends from Skalitz joined my squad, along with Sam and Pacifist Devil. Pacifist eased me to the role of a commander by giving me advice, and I inflicted speech on the squad. When it was my turn for the night watch, I inhaled an entire pot of food beforehand, which may or may not have created several problems later. While making my rounds on the western palisade, one of the guards called me my lord. Dead giveaway, dead giveaway. He failed to recognize me, prince of all peasants. The enemy had infiltrated or something, and I had an embarrassing amount of trouble performing, because I just had to try to learn the combo in a trial by fire. We captured an enemy soldier, so me and Devil went to interrogate him. And once again, I got the target to sing like a nun on Sunday without touching him.
Yeah, me and Devil, coming out of the dungeon, just successfully interrogated a guy.
Next, I stopped by the field hospital to convince a patient to let Musa heal him. I understand why the guy was nervous. Bro didn't even know what a black person was. Then I learned firsthand how fun being a commander is. I had to choose 3 men from my squad to die. I sent Mikesh. I would have sent Kozliak too, but he was busy shaking off a concussion. So I sent the Skalitz boys instead. And honestly, I actually felt bad. The choice genuinely sucked. To be perfectly honest, when I say sent them to their deaths, it's because I was supposed to cover them from the battlements with a bow. But the best I could do was cheerleading and an elevated anxiety baseline. The plan was for them to create a distraction while the cavalry circled around and towards the enemy camp. Of course, Dry Devil survived. And boy was he unhappy about our complete lackluster support.
That was all my fault. He's taking it out on Capone. I'm sorry, Hans. You're taking one for the team.
Then we entered the starvation arc. I promised Hans I'd find food, went around asking everybody, and then had to convince Dry Devil not to eat my dog. Things got so desperate I started seducing chests open for supplies. Then I remembered I knew how to make moonshine, which technically contains nutrients if you lower your standards enough. Hans had a good giggle over it when I brought him alcohol. After that, funeral time. I made Godwin freestyle the speech. It was going surprisingly well, right until the enemy attack interrupted the service. This fight made my soul hurt. Not only do I suck at fighting, I also apparently suck at reading objectives. I spent stupid amounts of time flailing around aimlessly. When I went downstairs to investigate, I let go of the movement key on the stairs, and gravity continued the rest of the journey without my consent.
Hui! What happened?
That's how I died, to a black hole or something. My latest favorite complaint has become,
I have the opposite of plot armor. I don't know what the frick's going on.
Eventually I won by running out the clock, thanks to a statistical anomaly where the turnips on my side briefly experimented with helping. Following our questionable success, we lost the outer bailey. Things became inconveniently desperate, and the next plan was to sneak me and Sam out of the castle to beg the ops for reinforcements.
May God protect you.
Good luck.
You'd better not get caught.
Frick, I was made for this crap.
Then it was time to say my goodbyes. Mustache Devil shared Catherine's backstory with me. She'd lost her family too. When they found her, she was still holding her baby, who hadn't survived. At the field hospital, I got to ask Musa why he was black. He called my people barbarians, but in a nice way. Then immediately shocked me with his hygiene standards.
The dog was just drinking that, Musa, and you called me a barbarian.
Before leaving, I took the time to emotionally reassure Catherine. Then we exchanged formal goodbyes. There was also some stealth gear near my sleeping spot. I finally tried dressing appropriately for criminal activity, and honestly, it helped a lot. Once I stumbled down the wall, my first priority was stacking unconscious guards together like an offering for aspiring archers. Unfortunately, they woke up before I finished decorating.
Uh-oh. I think we're in trouble.
For no adequately explored reasons, one soldier was immune to my brand. Don't know why. While circling the camp's wall for holes, I overheard Brabant's more talking to Samuel. My bro there somehow got captured in the time it took me to scale down the wall. Getting inside the camp was a carnival of close calls. Brabant himself was strangely resistant to my usual tactics, and fully capable of speeding up my apoptosis in one hit.
Oh! What?
Once I stopped trying to perform combos for style points, the fight became pretty easy, which was fortunate because I had to replay it an embarrassing number of times after messing up everything afterward. A couple of more things about Brabant. Once you let him go, he immediately betrays you again. Big shocker. Funnily enough, nobody reacted to his screaming, like the whole camp was already exhausted by the noises he makes. Trying to knock him out instead just sent his soul wandering for eternity. A true glass cannon. I kind of liked the French dude before all this, but I feel like he wouldn't be quiet at his own funeral. Sam wanted me to continue the mission without him. Unacceptable.
What are you doing?
After wasting a tremendous amount of time searching for creative solutions, Chad informed me I could simply drag Sam onto a dung pile near the wall and pick him up from the other side.
He looks so uncomfortable.
Once I stopped trying to be clever, escaping the camp wasn't actually that difficult. With the trick most doctors don't recommend.
Yes!
Locking Sam to the stables and smuggling him out on horseback was the easy part. After that, we got to enjoy Godwin and Hans getting drunk together before the final battle.
He's talking to a horse.
The next morning, I got to replay the opening cutscene scenario all over again. Thrilling. The battle quickly devolved into everybody getting trapped inside the castle. Reinforcements finally arrived, I was Henry again, and the battle for Hoover Dam began. Unfortunately, I was also clad in armor against my consent. I dealt with the first fight like how I deal with social situations, until my allies finally carried hard enough for me to peel the extra layer off my back. After that, I climbed a ladder, forced my way into the gatehouse, learned what a portcullis is, and ran like hell back into the outer bailey, with one too many enemies chasing me. Back at the bridge, I became a Jedi in the middle of unarming the two soldiers that pushed after me. My ally saved my hide this time too. After the battle, I collected my congratulations and interrogated Hans out of principle. Then I went to visit Mr. Worldwide. Unfortunately, he'd lost the fight against infection without consulting me first. I even wore my best underwear for the occasion. Sad, but not defeated, I, instead, introduced the full glory of my undergarments to all of my parents. Then we watched the gang unsuccessfully recreate the William Tell challenge, and Mustache Devil became Cyclops Devil again. The real reason I survived all this is because Musa blessed me in the name of Allah, and Godwin blessed me in the name of God. I had 2 entire deities covering my flank. Side note, I had to accept eventually that Dogmeat will just sometimes catch strays because he has the survival instincts of a lemming, but it wasn't easy, because I love animals. The first time it happened, it broke my heart. He ran in front of me as I was kicking an entire herd of sheep to the curb.
Look what I have for you.
What is it?
Sire, I bear news from the Italian court. There's been a robbery.
What?
Apparently Margrave Yob's people, they freed the hostages and stole all the silver and vanished.
All our silver?
All of it, but that's not all, sire. Word has come that Jobst is mustering an army and is planning to go to the aid of Kuttenberg.
Oh, that treacherous little whore.
That delivery was gold.
That snake. That fucking turncoat! Get out! What are you still standing there? Spit it out!
Sire, Ladislaus of Naples, he's declared himself King of Hungary and lays claim to your lands. He landed at Zadar with an army.
Anything else?
Well, your Cumans plundered the estates of the House of Wallstein. The widow Anna is demanding compensation.
Compensation? Compensation she wants, that little widow? And how are we supposed to pay that when there's no one even capable of guarding our treasury in the middle of fucking town? Anything else?
No, sire, that's all, sire.
This fucking country! Fucking Bohemian! Hard-headed, insidious woman! That's the whole fucking rest of them! Rot in their own containers! We're going back to Hungary. Get packed immediately and give the orders.
Sire, how am I to pay the wages of the Prague troops?
Do you know what happened to our silver from the Italian court?
I do.
Then fucking get it back! Give it to the Pragas for all we care. Do whatever you like with this accursed Czech silver.
But sire, I would need something to see.
I was also informed afterward that the So It Begins rock section could apparently be completed non-lethally if you hit the rocks in a very specific way. I went back in time, tried different angles, different body parts, even clipped one guy in the toe, and he still died. Clearly, I was too talented. The internet also suggested poisoned arrows, since poison kills supposedly don't count towards your statistics. Unfortunately, that strategy required weapons. I tried it anyway.
Okay, so it's true. It is possible.
Well, there you have it, folks. I beat Kingdom Come Deliverance without using weapons or armor, while only killing 4 people. Meh, good enough. Here are all the perks I picked for this run. And here are all the photos from the scrapbook. Please enjoy. And that's gonna be it for this time, folks. May Lady Luck step on you and bless your loot. Thanks for watching, see you next time, take care now, bye bye then.